If you've ever had a big breakthrough with your bot project, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, folks, and welcome back to another episode of Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook. It's Friday, and we're going to close out a busy week quite strong here today off the back of the Amazon and the Apple reports from last night. We have oil companies reporting this morning. We've got Mark Putrino joining us. We've got Anne-Marie today. Full loaded day to send you off into your weekend. Almost at mice down, drinks up time. One more session to go. Let's go ahead and get the party started here on a Friday. Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook, the Friday edition, for the last day of the month, July 31st, 2026, begins right now. Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook. I hope that you all had a wonderful Thursday night. Congrats, it's Friday. We made it. One more session to get through. We're going to have a good one, and then we're going to be off into our weekend. May all of your weekend plans be glorious. Solitary Soldier is first here today. Good morning, everyone. Ryan, we're thankful for you and the team, the wealth of knowledge that you bring daily. That's very kind of you. Between the producer and 13 and all of the excellent guests that we bring on, I'm glad that you're enjoying it. And a little bit of a preview here. We're going to have a banger of a guest on Monday. So don't you worry about it. It's going to be awesome. I think you folks are all going to be really, really excited. Yes, that girl. Good morning. Happy Friday indeed to you. Party it up this weekend. Let's have a good one. Ryan, hope you're back as far. Hope you're feeling better. Yes, I had one day where it was just a lost day. I literally couldn't do anything. Thankfully, that has passed, and I am back to 100%. At least it feels that way. Derek, good morning. Welcome back. A fantastic Friday. The alliteration is on point. I love it. Also, CYCU. I don't know if Wiss is here yet, but man, oh man. He called that yesterday. I think the first time I saw his call, it was like 51 cents. And that thing is $2+ or whatever it was this morning. Just unbelievable. Sometimes not paying attention to penny stocks will get me. Thankfully, our chat is here to pick up the slack. Congrats to Wiss, and Derek, congrats to you if you're able to make some money on that. Pot G, happy last day of trading of the month. Indeed, good afternoon to you, Pot G. Hopefully all is well. Zach McCracken, good morning, and good morning to the Benzie gang. Good luck to all, and not least Body McBotface. Yeah, it's going to be a good one. I had to do, oh God, I don't even want to take too much time on this, but basically I figured out that my bot was not running off of streaming quotes like a broker would be. And I fixed it last night. And then I added some cool stuff to tell me if the IWM and the Qs and the SPY are in chop. Plus I got key levels automatically being generated for some of the bigger stocks. I had a huge breakthrough last night. So I cleared the paper P&L ledger, and I'm going to start over because the fills and everything that I was getting before, none of it was any good with the delay. Now it's on real time. Everything's updating with each market tick. We are ready for some real testing. Buffalo by Bicycle, good morning. Welcome back. Crispy Biscuit, good morning. Welcome back. There's Wiss. There's Wiss. You're going to get a one-up to start the day because that call yesterday was so good, dude. Welcome back. I think I watched the Braves won last night, didn't they? Yeah, they exciting game too. Robert, good morning, welcome back. Peter, good morning, welcome back. Alan, it's great to see you. Good morning, welcome back. We got some duplicate messages here. That's okay. Restream is bugging, producer. Restream is bugging. That's okay. We're gonna fight through it. Oh my God, everything is repeated here. Billy, good morning, welcome back. Producer, good morning, welcome back. AA, afternoon from the UK, welcome. Hopefully you enjoy yourself. We've got several folks from the UK here today, as we do every day. Several folks from Europe. Welcome. Hopefully you enjoy yourself. Acorn says, yes, Apple calls. It will come back in some before the end of the day. So you think Apple is going to bounce here? Came into a level. You think it's going to bounce here? That's pretty good. That's actually one of the things we're going to be looking at. Cynthia, good morning. Welcome back. Bernhard, good morning. Welcome back. Jay Wild, good morning. Marionette, great to see you again. Welcome back. Matthew, good morning. Welcome back. Kelly, good morning. Welcome back. Everyone is well. Better now that you're here too, Kelly. Yassine, good morning. Welcome back. Samaritan, good morning / good afternoon, because you're in the UK too, right? We got more folks from the UK just in here, just getting it done. Tyler, good morning. Carmen, good morning. Are you excited about the market today? We are excited every day around these parts. Every day we are excited. Join us. Dirkus, good morning. Welcome back. Ed, good morning. Welcome back. Ed, what's on the docket for you here today? Harlugo, good morning. Welcome back. Just passing through. Robot to Trade, good morning and welcome back. Linda, good morning. Welcome back. Daniel, good morning. Welcome back. No, bot and the back are different, I can assure you. Midge, good morning. Hey, folks, M1 is here. He helped me out there. Midge, what are you, from the 50s? M1, welcome back. Good morning. Crispy Biscuit, good morning. Welcome back. Funny how I remember what day it is by the guest from PreMarket Playbook. You know what? That tells me that we're getting a little too predictable, and I need to throw you some curveballs, Crispy Biscuit. Just going to throw that out there. We'll see. Wiss, I'm sorry. Mentioned it at 30 cents. Like I said, the first time I saw it was 50 cents. Wiss out here just getting it done at 30 cents. Really good stuff, Wiss. Keep them coming. Keep them coming, bro. AC, good morning. Welcome back. Philip, good morning. Welcome back. I see my K. Good morning. Welcome back. Gary, good morning. I love the No Shave Fridays. So I try to shave just once a week, and I try to do it on Monday and have it last the whole week. But by Friday, I've got some coming in there, thankfully, or hopefully y'all don't mind. Brandy, good morning. A stream is lagging a bit. It's only the YouTube channel that does. You know what? This is a consistent report that we've got. I don't know what's going on. It's got to be Restream related. That's the only, my producer and I talk about this all the time. The only thing we can figure out here is that it's Restream related. So I don't know. I don't know what we're going to do about that. Eric, will your bot ever be available for us to use? So I'm toying with that idea, but again, I need to get it dialed in before I do any of that. Will the exact strategies that I use be available to you? Probably not. I'm worried about if everyone's trading the exact same thing based on math, it's going to make things different. Maybe I'm wrong in that. Let me look into it. But I would love to be able to release a automated trading product that allows you to put your own strategies in there. And if I can figure it out, adding a back testing segment so you can come up with new strategies, that's the dream, folks. We'll see where we get. Duty, good morning, welcome back. Lance, good morning, welcome back. Rooster, good morning, welcome back. I'm really interested in the bot progress. And I'll start doing more of this. Maybe I can do some sessions where we kind of show what it's doing. But I'm still making rookie mistakes. And I don't think, I can tell you about those mistakes, but I don't know that presenting with a whole bunch of rookie mistakes is good. When I figure it out, and I just had a meeting with somebody that's been doing this as a career, been generating quants and automated trading programs for a long time. I learned a wealth of knowledge. But when I get to a spot where I think I can benefit you as opposed to me kind of figuring out my way through mistakes, I will share that information. Steve, good morning. Welcome back. What do you use for stocks? I use Charles Schwab. That's my broker. Yassine says, Apple got killed. I bought more shares. If you have a long-term time horizon, I don't think that's a bad idea. Triniarch, Trinidad and Tobago says, good morning. Well, good morning to Trinidad and Tobago. That is awesome. Our reach just keeps expanding here. Gets me fired up. DTAP, good morning. Crankbait, good morning. Parvez, good morning. JJ Design, good morning. Dara, good morning. And GP Gary, good morning. Gary, you had a great day yesterday. Good luck to you today. All right, folks, let's go ahead and get to Friday kicked off with the stock market today. All right, green arrows across the board. Can we hold them the entire session? That's going to be the question. S&P futures up 0.26%, Dow futures up 0.46%, and the NASDAQ leading the way higher, positive by 0.93%. Also worth noting, oil is also higher here by 2.15%, so we'll see if any of those pair back or return back to their mean. Now, let's take a look at cues from last session, as well as what we have on deck for you here today. I do have several stocks in focus for you, as per usual. Industrials, information technology, and consumer discretionary stocks led Thursday's gains as most S&P 500 sectors closed higher, though communication services and consumer staples bucked the trend by ending lower. U.S. stock futures rose on Friday as the Dow, S&P, and NASDAQ indices advanced following Thursday's higher close. Also, the Kospi bounced back 18% overnight. On Thursday, cooler June PCE inflation data and softer than expected second quarter GDP reinforces expectations that inflation pressures may be easing just after the Fed left rates unchanged at its July meeting. Heightened security concerns around Egypt's Suez Canal, amplified by recent drone attacks near Damietta, could increase war risk insurance premiums, raise shipping costs, and, if the disruptions persist, add to inflationary pressures. Meanwhile, the 10-year Treasury bond yielded 4.65%, and the 2-year bond was at 4.24%. The CME Group's Fed Watch tool projections show the market's pricing a 63% likelihood of the Federal Reserve hiking the current interest rates during the September meeting. We'll see if we finally get a hike there. Now, we've got several stocks in focus here for you today, and the first one is Big Mama. It is Apple, ticker AAPL, dropped 7.27% in the pre-market on Friday, despite beating earnings and sales estimates for the third quarter of fiscal 2026. However, it said that it sees fourth quarter sales of $111.68 billion to $113.73 billion, and that was versus an estimate of $114.84 billion. The next stock on our list is going to be Amazon, ticker AMZN. It surged by 12.31% after posting upbeat financial results for the second quarter after Thursday's closing bell. Got to be honest with you, that Amazon report was fantastic. Amazon Web Services is an absolute monster. The next stock on our list is going to be Reddit, ticker RDDT, and it tumbled 9.57% despite reporting better than expected earnings and revenue in its second quarter results that were released after the bell yesterday. The next stock in our list is going to be Coinbase. The ticker is COIN, and it was 4.46% lower as it posted revenue of $1.22 billion in the second quarter, which was down roughly 19% year over year. The total missed a street consensus estimate of $1.32 billion. The company also reported a loss of 40 cents per share, missing a street estimate loss of 11 cents per share. The final stock on our list is going to be Strategy, ticker MSTR. It declined 2.39% after its quarterly revenue of $122.39 million missed consensus estimates of $122.91 million, barely missed there. Additionally, it currently holds 843,775 Bitcoin, making it the largest institutional holder in the world. All right, let's take a look at the SPY chart. Let's see where we're going and where we might finish up here today. Now, we've been talking pretty much every day for the last several weeks that we're just sideways here, and that continues. We had a nice bounce back yesterday. We kind of anticipated that, to be quite honest with you. We ended up getting that. Today, we're actually seeing a little bit of extension on that, and probably on the back of the Kospi bouncing back 18% in a single session overnight last night. Now, the key here is, can we actually hold this into the close here today? We've seen on Fridays, there's a lot of folks that don't want to hold positions going into Friday, worried about the conflict in the Middle East, worried about valuations, whatever it is, they like to lighten ahead of the weekend. And we very well may see that again here today. So although we're up 0.3 here after a pretty good day yesterday, no guarantee that we finish higher here. So let me know what you think. I do agree with Acorns. I think Apple might be a trade up here today. We'll see if that is the case. Now, as far as the levels go here, we are just shy of the 50, and the 50 is only separated by the 20 by about $1. So we're beneath that level here. Those are both within play here today. In fact, this morning, it looks like about 4 o'clock in the morning, we hit a high of 746.55. That is above both of these moving averages here today. So we're going to watch that range. 746.55 should be a key level today if we do, in fact, trade higher. We will also watch to see where we close around some of these moving averages. 748 is the top side area that we have marked off there. That is proven to be a key level multiple times for both the upside and the downside. Unsure if we're going to get there today, but we'll see. It is the last day of the month, so it is possible that you have some window dressing here for the end of the month, and maybe that will lead things higher. In fact, I'm pretty sure that the last couple of Fridays have been higher, right? This last one, July 24th, it technically was higher, but really not by only by 1/10. And then I think the day before that, it was higher by 1%. So these Fridays, and I think what was the day before that? Friday, July 10th, that was higher here by 0.43%. So the last several Fridays have been higher here. Okay, let's take a look at some insights from analysts, see where they sit, and then we're going to go through some of the news. We're going to cover Apple and Amazon predominantly here before we bring on Mark Putrino. Brian Reeling, co-head of global fixed income and digital asset strategy at Wells Fargo Advisors, expects financial markets to remain dynamic and driven by headlines, even as, quote, the U.S. economy has remained surprisingly resilient, end quote. He highlights that consumers are still spending, businesses continue to invest, and the labor market has held up well, keeping overall economic growth on track. However, ongoing volatility in oil prices has added a critical layer of uncertainty to broader market sentiment because energy costs directly impact transportation and manufacturing. Surging oil prices threaten to reignite broader inflation concerns. As Reeling notes, quote, oil volatility is no longer just about energy. It has become an important factor in shaping inflation expectations, end quote. Rather than reacting to temporary market swings, Reeling advises investors to, quote, stay disciplined while others get distracted by the latest headline, end quote. I love that advice. He views commodities favorably as a tool for potential inflation protection and diversification. Someone was asking about metals yesterday. Maybe look at it that way. Additionally, he points to short-term fixed income as an attractive opportunity to capture meaningful yields while preserving flexibility. Would agree with that too, actually. So Brian looks to be spot on there. As far as the economic data, we do get July's Chicago PMI released here at 9:45, and July's final University of Michigan consumer sentiment data will be out at 10. We'll see if either of those move the market. Okay, let's dive into Amazon. Actually, what we'll do is we'll start with the chart before we go into the story. Then we'll go through the numbers. Here's what Amazon looks like, and a massive move higher yesterday. I mean, this was an exceptionally good report. It was up just shy of 4% yesterday. It's up another 11% here today. This is what it looks like. Now, we did close yesterday above the 200-day. So before earnings, we closed above the 200-day. That's good in and of itself. However, the pop here fills the gap, brings us above the 100, brings us above the 50, and brings us above the 20. And it even brings us above the recent high that we put in on Thursday, July 16th. Where we're at right now basically looks like previous resistance support area, maybe a little bit up here. This actually kind of goes back to November of last year where we found resistance and put in the high for the year. We did break that earlier in May this year, but it looks like Amazon might be making another run towards that. We'll see here how that ends up shaping up. Next, I think we are at this 261-ish area. I do think is a resistance area. We'll see if we get above this high here, about 278. And just to be kind of cheeky a little bit here, we'll draw this trend line, give ourselves another target. That's not far above where we're at now, estimating that at about 265 and change. Okay, let's talk about the actual report itself because it was a banger. Amazon posts a double beat in Q2 and has the fastest Amazon Web Services growth in 18 quarters. 18 quarters. Amazon reported second quarter revenue of $200.61 billion, beating the consensus estimate of $196.46 billion, and that was according to Benzinga Pro. The company posted second quarter earnings of $5.75 per share, which beat the analyst consensus estimate of $1.82 per share. So massive beat there on the EPS, but we've actually seen this before. We looked into this right when this hit yesterday. That massive EPS beat is because of the unrealized gain that they have on their Anthropic investment. Total revenue increased 20% year-over-year on a year-over-year basis, And here's a breakdown of the different segments. North America, $116.2 billion. That's up 16%. International, $42.2 billion, up 15%. Amazon Web Services, $42.2 billion, up 37%. And as mentioned, the fastest growth in 18 quarters. Operating cash flow increased 33% to $161.4 billion for the trailing 12 months, and free cash flow decreased to an outflow of $7.6 billion. That was driven primarily by a year-over-year increase of $66.1 billion in purchases of property and equipment, reflecting their AI investments. Amazon ended the period with $80.93 billion in cash, cash equivalents, and restricted cash. Quote, AWS is booming, growing 36.7% year over year in Q2. In Q2, our fastest growth in 18 quarters, and our AI and chips business each eclipsed run rates of more than $25 billion, end quote. That came directly from Andy Jassy, president and CEO of Amazon. He goes on to say, quote, in stores, we again set record delivery speeds for Prime members in the first half of the year, over 40% more items delivered same day or overnight, with grocery and everyday essentials growing meaningfully faster than the rest of the business, end quote. I actually ordered something yesterday in the morning and got it at like noon. Unbelievable. Amazon expects third quarter revenue to be between 197 and 202 billion versus the estimate of 204.08 billion. Operating income is expected to be between 22.5 billion and 26.5 billion for the third quarter, and that's compared to the 17.4 billion in the comparable quarter last year. Quote, there's a lot to be excited about, and we have much more coming for customers in the second half and the years beyond, end quote. Again, from Andy Jassy. So a really good report. Management sounds confident. The tone was great. The numbers were great. Giddy up for Amazon. Giddy up for Amazon. I wouldn't be surprised if it tries and takes out that 266.69 pre-market high. We shall see. Now, CapEx is what everyone's worried about, right? Amazon raised their 2026 CapEx by $20 billion, but the CEO, Andy Jassy, says it won't say how it's paying for it. Nothing to share. Oh, I'm sure this is going to get people rubbed the right way. I'm sure they're going to love this. Just weeks after its bond sale, Amazon told Wall Street it now needs an additional $20 billion in CapEx beyond its original plan. On Thursday, CEO Andy Jassy announced the e-commerce giant is raising its 2026 capital spending target from $200 billion to $220 billion due to soaring memory chip prices. During the second quarter earnings call, when an analyst asked about Amazon's funding strategy for future AI and infrastructure expansion, Jassy demurred, quote, nothing to share today, end quote. Jassy said Amazon has already tapped the debt markets this year and still has multiple financing options available as it continues investing in Amazon Web Services growth, adding that the company will choose the most appropriate funding method when that is needed. The CEO said that even with $220 billion in capital spending, Amazon won't have enough capacity to meet all customer demand this year. Unbelievable. Quote, I believe this dynamic will also be true in 2027. And he goes on to say, in fact, the demand we have for 2028 is striking, end quote. So I know that the CapEx is going up here, but he's basically saying like, we have to because the demand is not only there this year and next year, but like it's already starting for 2028. So spend away, Amazon. They've already shown that they can turn on the profit jets pretty much whenever they want. Amazon Web Services posted a 37% revenue growth to $42.2 billion in the second quarter. That beat analyst expectations of 31.2% increase, smoked it rather. CEO Andy Jassy called its Amazon Web Services fastest growth in 18 quarters, adding that both Amazon's AI and chip businesses have surpassed $25 billion in annualized revenue run rates, or ARR. Amazon's free cash flow swung into the red, falling to negative $7.6 billion over the trailing 12 months in the second quarter. That's down from a positive $18.2 billion a year earlier. Earlier this month, Amazon said it plans to raise $25 billion through a multi-tranche US dollar bond sale to support corporate needs, including AI-driven CapEx and the upcoming debt repayments. The offering spans 8 tranches with maturities from 2029 to 2066. In March, the company raised $37 billion in an oversubscribed bond sale. The company has told its underwriters it does not plan to issue any additional debt this year, and that was reported by CNBC. Amazon did not immediately respond to Benzinga's request for comments, but as always, we'll update you should we get that. Despite the strong revenue growth and operating cash flow, Alphabet, ticker GOOG, Amazon, AMZN, Meta, ticker META, and Oracle, ticker ORCL, are expected to see forward free cash flow shrink to near zero or turn negative as AI-driven data center spending surges. Moody's estimates sector capex could reach $785 billion in 2026 and nearly $1 trillion in 2027, prompting hyperscalers to issue around $175 billion in debt this year, far above the 5-year average of $30 billion. Shea Ballure, chief market strategist at Futurum Equities, said investors are underestimating the extent to which AI is reshaping big tech, forcing companies to shift from asset-light models to ones that require massive infrastructure spending. Meanwhile, bond investors are growing more cautious, with credit spreads on major hyperscaler debt widening to about 78 basis points from 50 basis points in just 2 months, reflecting increased concerns over rising capital needs. So that story's hasn't gone anywhere yet. Amazon is clearly being rewarded today despite hiking their CapEx, but the worries are still out there, and this is definitely something that we're still going to watch and pay attention to. Okay, next here, how are we doing on time? We're doing pretty good, but I'm going to have to hustle. We are going to go with Apple. I'm going to start with the chart here because Apple pulled back. We already have several folks here thinking about possibly buying this. The interesting part is that Apple yesterday, when it first pulled right to the 20-day, and it stopped there. Then it took another leg lower, and actually several legs lower, and look where we're at, right beneath the 50. Watch this 50 here today. The value I have is 309.5. If it can close above that, we might actually try and fill this gap back up, maybe even make a target there towards the 20-day moving average. I don't know how much is going to happen here today, but Apple, post-earnings, a good report, sold off right to its 50. So we're going to watch where this got support. This would make sense for a swing long just because it reported good numbers here. Now, let's take a look at the actual report itself here. Apple delivers a double beat in Q3. Active install base reaches an all-time high, and they put up their largest June quarter ever. Apple posted fiscal third quarter revenue of $109.42 billion, which beat the analyst estimates of $108.65 billion. The Cupertino-based company reported earnings of $2.02 per share for the quarter, beating estimates of $1.89 per share, according to Benzinga Pro. Revenue was up 16% year over year, and earnings per share climbed 29% year over year. America sales totaled $47.78 billion in the quarter. Europe sales came in at $29.4 billion, and Greater China sales rebounded to $18.82 billion. Japan sales came in at $6.55, and the rest of Asia Pacific totaled $8.87. Quote, today, Apple is proud to report our strongest June quarter ever, with double-digit revenue growth across iPhone, Mac, and services, and in every geographic segment, end quote. That came from Tim Cook, CEO of Apple, on his last ever earnings call. Product revenue was $78.68 billion. That's up from $66.61 billion year over year. Services revenue totaled $30.74 billion. That's up from $27.42 billion year over year. And here's a breakdown of the following categories. iPhone, $54.25 billion versus the $44.58 billion last year. Mac, $10.35 billion versus the $8.05 billion last year. iPad, $6.19 billion versus the $6.58 billion last year. Wearables and home accessories, $7.88 billion versus $7.4 billion last year. Apple said its install base of active devices hit another all-time high across all major product categories and geographic segments. You see why I call it Big Mama, folks? It's unbelievable. Apple ended the quarter with $39.54 billion in cash and cash equivalents. The company's board declared a quarterly cash dividend of 27 cents per share, payable on August 13th to shareholders of record on August 10th. Now, continuing with the Apple theme here, Apple underestimated its own customers, evidently. Apple CEO Tim Cook blames the demand forecast issue for the Q4 supply bottlenecks. So you're saying that they could do even better? Apple's record-breaking fiscal third quarter is being overshadowed by the looming fourth quarter supply shortage. The surprising culprit? The tech giant underestimated consumer demand for its own products, contributing to a weaker than expected September quarter outlook and a sharp drop in after-hours trading. Now, will that turn around? I'll leave that to you to figure out. Despite posting its strongest June quarter ever, Apple expects its September quarter revenue, the growth, to decelerate to 9% to 11%. The company projects fourth quarter sales between $111.69 billion and $113.74 billion, and that slightly trailed the street's estimate of $114.84. And that sent Apple shares down over 6% in overnight trading. It's actually down, I think, 8% here today. During his final earnings call, outgoing CEO Tim Cook candidly admitted that impending constraints across the iPhone, Mac, and iPad product lines are largely self-inflicted. Quote, the root cause is not a regular supply issue. It's a demand forecast issue. And to be candid, where the iPhone and the Mac are both doing remarkably better than we thought they would do. End quote. Came from Tim Cook. How about that? Because of the limited flexibility in the semiconductor supply chain to secure advanced nodes, Cook issued a stark warning. Quote, we've got a quarter that we're going to be scrambling on the supply side, essentially. End quote. The supply chain crunch stems directly from Apple's massive third quarter beat. The Cupertino-based company posted revenue of $109.42 billion, which was up 16% year over year. We already covered that here for Apple. There was another thing here, the unexpected surge. Yeah, so this is what I wanted to get to. This unexpected surge was propelled by the new A19-powered iPhone 17 lineup and the latest Macs, which saw revenue jump 22 and 29% respectively. Furthermore, management expects the rollout of the deeply integrated Siri AI to sustain this high consumer interest through the holiday season. Beyond the demand-driven supply constraints, Apple also faces mounting macroeconomic hurdles. Chief Financial Officer Kavan Parekh, cautioned that a 2.5% foreign exchange headwind and surging memory costs will squeeze margins. Cook characterized the exponential rise in memory prices as a 100-year flood. Navigating these compounding challenges, will soon fall to incoming CEO John Ternus. Cook closed Thursday's call by expressing confidence in his successor, describing the ongoing executive transition as completely seamless. Cook's last day as Apple CEO will be September 1st, after which he will transition into a new role as the executive chairman of Apple's board of directors. Now, I know we're getting ready here for Mark Putrino, but I got one more. I've got one more story on Apple, and I think this is going to be important. Maybe I'm wrong on this, but I'm going to give you a call a little bit early here. This story, U.S. schools are ditching Chromebooks for MacBooks by the thousands. Now, this is interesting because a lot of these educational departments that have these huge contracts and refresh these computers, very few of them have been Apple. And it looks like that tide might be changing a bit here. Apple's latest earnings call revealed a wave of K-12 districts abandoning Chromebooks and Windows machines in favor of the company's new MacBook Neo. Chief Financial Officer Kavan Parekh naming specific schools driving the shift. Parekh told analysts on Thursday that in Florida, Pinellas County Schools, one of the state's largest districts, is moving 25,000 students from Windows devices to MacBook Neos across 18 of its high schools. In Washington State, Peninsula School District 401 has shifted more than 8,000 students off Chromebooks and onto new MacBooks. And in Oklahoma, Midwest City Dell City School District purchased over 6,000 MacBook Neos, becoming what Parekh calls an all-Apple district for students, end quote. And the pattern isn't isolated to a handful of districts. Parekh said the last quarter, roughly half of MacBook Neo's large volume purchases by U.S. educational institutions displaced Windows and Chromebook devices, causing a notable dent in a market Chromebooks have long dominated on price. He added that many districts are leaning on Apple Financial Services to fund the rollouts at scale. The education push is part of a broader Mac breakout. Apple reported Mac revenue of $10.4 billion, up 29% year over year, a new June quarter record, crediting strength in both MacBook Neo and MacBook Pro. Yeah, MacBook Pro, let's go. Parekh said Mac posted its, quote, best quarter ever for customers new to the Mac and for upgraders worldwide, end quote. That included U.S., China mainland, and India, with U.S. customer satisfaction at 95%. MacBook Neo is also gaining ground with enterprise buyers, reaching users Parekh described as spanning from bank branches to retail storefronts. The entry-level 13-inch laptop starts at just $700 or $600 for students and runs on the A18 Pro chip, the same processor that debuted in the iPhone 16 Pro back in 2024. Watch this, folks. Watch this news flow. You see more school districts en masse adopting Mac over Windows at next earnings report, or those next several earnings reports, or whenever it takes place. Yeah, that's going to be material. Remember, this company is an iPhone monster. You start boosting some of that Mac revenue on top of that, sky's the limit. I think Apple's going to be just fine. That's just me. All right, folks, it's Friday, and y'all know that because one of our favorite guests is coming on. Let's bring on Mark Putrino. Mark, happy Friday. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing pretty good, but I would have to say, on the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
Okay. I hear you clucking, Big Chicken. I hope that this is going to be a better segment than what you're referring to there. Nothing says knowledge like pleading the Fifth.
Yeah,
Okay.
man.
Glad we got that out of the way. Mark, do you have any charts you want to share with us today?
Yes, indeed I do.
Oh, that's funny. That's real funny.
That was quite a
It was.
quite
I
entertaining.
tell you what, I try to ignore it because when this all was going down, I had bad things said about me because of the way I felt. And hindsight's 2020, but it turns out my vision back then was pretty 2022.
Absolutely. Am I sharing here?
Yes, you are. Let me throw it on the screen. I was busy doing a victory lap.
You know what? You know what it kind of reminded me of when I was watching this Fauci up there is it reminded me a lot of Bernie Madoff in a lot of ways, because when I first came to Wall Street in the 90s, I was an over-the-counter trader, and the three biggest over-the-counter trading firms there were Goldman Sachs, Smith Barney, and Madoff. Madoff was this huge legend, and back in the 70s, there was these three guys: Madoff, Boyd Jeffries, and Jeffries still trades. I don't know if he's around anymore or not, and Don Whedon. And they, just to kind of make a long story short, they started what we call the third market, which kind of evolved into the NASDAQ. All right. So basically, Bernie Madoff is one of the fathers of the NASDAQ. Now, the market making model used to be that you would buy on the bid and you would sell on the offer. Back in those days, the spreads were pretty wide. It would be not uncommon for there to be a stock that was 20 to 20 and a half. So if you're a market maker, you buy it at 20, you sell it at 20 and a half. Like that's the whole idea. So in the late 90s, they went to decimalization. And all of a sudden, because of that, the spreads just disappeared. There were no longer quarter spreads or half spreads. It was now like pennies. So the market making model just didn't work anymore, right? Now, at that point, Madoff could have just retired as a legend. His broker dealer was never in trouble or never got indicted for anything. There was never any allegations of anything going wrong at the broker dealer. But when all that happened, instead of him retiring and throwing in the towel, he decided to start this fictitious money management business where he just made up returns. And people in the SEC were onto him because, just to make it really simple, there would be things in his statements like, oh, you bought 100,000 shares of XYZ today and only 10,000 XYZ traded on that day. So it wasn't possible. And I remember in those days when the SEC, they could come in and, at any given time, they could just show up. They don't need to announce they're coming. They can come and audit you. And they would send these kids that were pretty much like right out of college, people that didn't really have any experience. And I think I remember one of the stories was like the SEC examiner that went over to Madoff ended up like dating his niece or something. And anyway, the point of all this is it's just hard to believe that you can be an older, mature person with a distinguished career and still just have this like megalomania insanity about it. It's I mean, I don't get it, man. I don't get it. But anyway,
I don't either. And really quick on the auditors. So I actually worked in two banks prior to this career. Did not like those jobs, by the way, not that you care. But the auditors, they did not play games. They were I saw several of them across the two banks that I worked at. They were probably, I would estimate, anywhere between 35 and 50 in that age range, definitely not out of college. And they did not mess around. I mean, that shit was by the book. If you made mistakes, you got marks off. Like it, I almost wish they had that kind of scrutiny outside of the retail banking system, but I guess it sounds like you don't necessarily.
Well, now it's changed. Like now, like someone like myself who understands trading, I could go get a job as an SEC auditor because if I walked onto a trading desk, I could tell you in 10 minutes if something shady was going on. Just like pretend you were a store manager, a retail store manager. You could walk into another store and know right away if it's being run well or not. Something that happens not frequently, but I have seen it happen, is you get in a position where there is a trader or a portfolio manager. Remember, there's the buy side and the sell side of the market. The sell side are the people that get commissions to execute trades. Those are the brokers. They both buy and sell, so it's slang. The buy side are the people that have to pay commissions. hedge funds, mutual funds, retail investors. So there are instances where people on the buy side get kickbacks from the sell side for throwing them extra business. I've seen it. As a matter of fact, the guy I used to work with at SAC got kicked out of the industry because he got caught doing it. But here's what happens. Let's just say you're some money management firm and you find out that one of your portfolio managers is getting illegal kickbacks and he's thrown all this business to a brokerage firm when there's a brokerage firm that can do a better job, and they catch him. What are they supposed to do? Right? Well, they're supposed to alert the SEC and they're supposed to tell all of the other clients what happened. If that happens, they're going to be out of business because all their other clients are going to be like, well, we're taking our money away from you guys. So they let the person resign and goes off into that good night. And that's it. So that's just a little bit of a reality of how the real institutional business world works.
I have another question. So you're such a wealth of information for us, and this is a little bit off topic here, but this was actually a question by one of our viewers here, and I can't think of a better person to ask than you. The question is basically this. Is it true that after a large dip, institutional investors can take up to a week to fully re-enter a position? Or does it happen all at once?
Oh, I mean, it all depends. It depends. I mean, some institutions typically have what we call a chief investment officer. He's the guy that's making all the decisions. And just like retail people, someone might try to get into it slowly. Some might take their time. A lot of that would be the traders kind of like, for example, on the SoFi, if I was back in my institutional days and I saw this thing was really oversold and at support, well, you talk to the brokers, right? Because the brokers are looking to get business. And let's just say they think I might have an interest in SoFi, or I own SoFi, or I might want to buy it or sell it. I'm going to start getting the calls. Hey, you doing anything on SoFi? Or, we're in touch with the buyer. You doing anything on SoFi? We might know that where there's a buyer out there, blah, 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 blah. So in other words, you can kind of get the feel and talk to these people and read that there are a lot of buyers out there and the selling interest is dried up. So in a situation like this, if a portfolio manager was to come over and say, hey, listen, this SoFi has dropped, what do you think we should do? I would say there's buyers everywhere. We should just jump in there and buy it right now. We shouldn't screw around. Let's just go buy it. Now, let's just say it's back here and we've had this big drop in the trade, and the PM comes over or the CI asks me, hey, what are you seeing on SoFi? It's a mixed market. We got buyers, we got sellers. In a situation like that, they might say, all right, well, let's take your time and let's see if you can get a good price. You don't need to be in a rush. You can go out there and screw around with it. So, and then also too, if it's a small cap stock and it's or a micro cap stock, with those type of companies, when opportunity knocks, you gotta answer the door, because a lot of them are very illiquid. Like something that would happen in the micro cap world would be a portfolio manager would say, hey, listen, here's 10 stocks I want to buy. Keep them on the radar list. But you can only buy it if you can buy at least like 100 or 200,000 shares, or else it's just not worth it to take in a real position. So if someone calls up and says, hey, I got 5,000 shares of this stock for sale, I got nothing behind it, I'm going to say I don't have an interest. If they say, hey, listen, I got 10,000 shares of the stock for sale, I might have something else to do here. That's when the game starts getting played. All right, well, what are you looking to do? What are you looking to do? What are you looking to do? So on a stock like that, these micro cap stocks, you got to do what the market tells you. If you're trading something like Apple, there's just so much liquidity that you can buy or sell as much as you want at any given time. You don't really need to worry about it. Like a move like this. All right, Apple found this bottom at this former resistance level. And, think about the analogy. Let's put this into a football analogy that we're getting into close to football season. So let's just pretend the red team is bringing the ball down the field here and they get to the blue team's goal line and it's 4th and 1 and they go for it, and the blue team makes the goal line stand. Now, let's pretend now it's 1st and 1, or, it's first down. The blue team makes a 2-yard run. And then the next play, the blue team makes a 4-yard run. And then the next play, the blue team makes a 3-yard run and they get the first down. Or so now the trend has changed, but it changed over, 4 plays. Now let's pretend it's 1st and 1, and all of a sudden it's a 30-yard pass down the field. And all of a sudden, the momentum has changed like that. So sometimes when things are reversing, you got time. And other times when things are reversing, it's like you need to act quickly because that opportunity might drop away that opportunity might disappear really quickly. And I've seen a lot of times in my life where people have missed out on big profits because they've gotten too cute about trying to buy things to the right penny. Like, in other words, all right, this is 15.20 support and it gets down to 15.25 and someone doesn't buy it. And then they miss this move because of 5 cents. Right. So remember, we talk about
the answer is both.
Yeah.
Sorry.
We talk about levels, but it's really more about a range. But This was what was my chart of the day yesterday, which I thought was kind of interesting. And, nothing really special going on here other than we get support. Now, market's going down. There's just not enough demand or buyers or shares to be bought to absorb all of the supply. So the sellers are forced to undercut each other and push the price lower. When we got down here, for whatever reason, this is where the buyers came out of the woodwork and the sellers could sell all they wanted and the price didn't go down anymore. And then we get a reversal. Now, the reason why you reverse off of support is because the buyers, we have to always think about this. This is what the market is. It's a crowd. It's a group of people. It's hard to picture it nowadays in the electronic markets. But think about being down here in the crowd and you got to buy something, right? You're trading XYZ and it trades at this post and you need to buy something and you see there's like 10 other buyers in the crowd and there's no sellers. Well, now all of a sudden you start to get nervous because you're afraid that those other buyers are going to pay more than you. So what do? You increase the price you're willing to pay. All right, these buyers are all willing to pay 15.20. If a new seller comes into the market, I'm going to say I'll pay you 15.30, and then the next guy goes to 15.40. So it's the emotions, the buyer's anxiety, I guess you could say, that makes these things rally. So anyway, we drop back down here, and now we have remorseful sellers from here going to buy their shares back. Same thing, the emotions, the buyers start to get anxious and worried. Come back down here, and this was the trade, the stock of the day yesterday, just because it was oversold and it just caught this nice clear support, and we just had this nice big rally through here. So by nothing other than paying to levels, important price levels, and momentum, overbought or oversold, that's enough to give you a good trade. Like, people ask me all the time, do I care about fundamentals? And and for my style, I don't. I'm very short term, and it's not about. I mean, think about it. What really happened with SoFi that made it 8% more yesterday at 4 p.m. than it was at 9:30? Like, over the course of the day, this thing increased in value by billions of dollars of valuation, only to just get back to where we were 2 days ago. Another interesting thing to point out on this chart, which is why it was kind of intriguing, is this big gap down here. Now, in a market, one of the main reasons why we get resistance is because we have remorseful buyers trying to sell things on the way up. In other words, people buy here, the price goes down, and they say to themselves, I made a mistake. I'm going to hold on to this loser, but if I can ever get out of it at break even, I will. So when the stock finally rallies back up to where they can get out at break even, remorseful buyers placing sell orders creates resistance. If you have a situation like this where you just fall or gap through the price levels, well, there's little or no one who bought there who is going to be trying to sell on the way back up. So when the new buyers come in, they have a hard time finding sellers. So if you've ever heard the expression gaps tend to refill, this is what it refers to. This is actually a really good example of it over here, right? We gap down. So because we gap down, there was no buyers or very few buyers who bought in here. When the new buyers come in over here, they don't have this big group of remorseful buyers who are trying to sell. So there just isn't a lot of sell interest in these ranges. So the buyers have to be really aggressive and push the thing right back up. So it's just a principle of markets that if something gaps or moves quickly through price levels in one direction and then gets back to those same price levels in the opposite direction, you can move quickly back through them again. And one of the reasons why we get support is remorseful sellers trying to buy things back at the same price they sold them at. Well, when you have a situation like this, where you just gap or you move really quickly, you just don't have a lot of time for there to be this big group of remorseful sellers who are going to be trying to buy shares back on the way down. So when sellers come in, they have a hard time finding buyers and they got to really knock the price down. So you can see, fast move or gap there, right back through it, right back through it. So the same dynamics are occurring in the sideways trend, but you're just not spending a lot of time at those price levels. So there's just less people that have an interest in them. Another thing I wrote about, I believe this last week, was Autodesk. And where was the top for Autodesk? And you can see it was pretty clear, right? We got up to a former resistance level. And like we discussed, people who bought here are going to sell here. People who bought here are selling here. People who bought here are selling here. So this was really overbought as well. You can see it down here on this RSI indicator. The way this is generally interpreted is that if this, I want to use red. The way this is interpreted is that if this blue line is above this horizontal red line up here, it's overbought. And if it's lower than the lower one, it's oversold. But as you can see here, this is just a principle of markets. And this is what I focus on. What are the important price levels, right? We got to a clear level. What's the momentum? We got overbought. And think about the price action. And now we've turned, and based on this turn, I would not be surprised to see this thing keep dropping. And my target on this here, keep in mind I'm an options trader, would be right down around there. So I don't know. I'm gonna have to take a look at that. Maybe I will do something there. I forgot to check on SpaceX. So I closed out my put position here, and we've gone sideways since. But I mean, it was a rather nice trade. Let's just put it that way. Now, if this support breaks around 110 or so, then I think the move lower just keeps happening.
I was going to say, it almost looks like you're set up for another possible trigger here if that 112 breaks, 112.20.
Yeah, I think this is kind of the old dead cat bounce. I don't see enough here for me to really think that this trend has changed. So
yeah, for me, I think go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was going to say, I have no idea where this company is going to be in the future and the prospects and this and that, but that's really irrelevant because it's a market, and the market has a finite number of people and a finite number of money. And if everyone who wants to buy SpaceX buys it and there's no one left to buy, a market with no buyers can only go down, because sooner or later, some of those buyers are going to say, you know what? I need to sell. I need money to pay a mortgage, or I need to go find a better idea. So, neutral markets tend to go down more than they tend to go up.
And Mark, don't forget, not only do we have earnings coming up here, but 2 days after earnings, we have 20% of the locked up shares being available to the market. So if you're talking about a stock that already has a lack of buyers, and now we're going to have more shares added to that, to me, it seems that the obvious move is down.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, we just got to wait and see, but I would say that I think the path of least resistance is down. And I think it's kind
that's a good way to put it.
The fact that Elon Musk is basically threatening people to not sell the stock is kind of weird. And first of all, in the institutional world, no one's going to listen to that. But so I guess some retail people would. But it was like, all right, well, if you don't own our stock for 6 months, then we're not going to issue you any more the next time around. I don't think I've ever seen that before. But I don't know. All right. So what else you guys want to get before I got to get going?
Reddit, RDDT.
So this is getting smacked around pretty good this morning.
Yeah, this had earnings last night and is getting hit here today, down almost 16%.
Well, I would say here so this is where we're trading in the pre-market.
Yep, 150.
I mean, if we got down to around here, another $10, which is not unrealistic, down to around 141 or 142, that's where I'd be looking for a bounce. But I don't think I would do anything quite yet.
Okay, so kind of in no man's land right now, but you do see some support down near 142. Looks like.
Yeah, I think we're right in the middle of this range. Like, there's a good chance there's going to be resistance right around here at this former support level, and there's a good chance there's going to be support here at this former support level, and we're like right in the middle. So I would probably wait to see if this thing got down there and play the reverse on the upside.
Okay, so wait and hold here on Reddit, or wait and see, I guess, on Reddit.
Yeah.
Next one here is Oracle.
Yeah, Oracle looks like it might be showing some signs of life here.
Held 120 pretty good.
Yeah, and this is yeah, I was anticipating this to turn up here, but we got a little bit lower. But anyway, former support level. Now this is some pretty good price action here, because I think you can kind of assume that the sellers have left, and this is a trend break, right? We got to support, we went sideways, so we weren't really oversold anymore. And now this price action can kind of tell us, remember the blue team made the goal line stand, and it looks like this was with an 8-yard run on the first down, and now it looks like, we're going to be a little bit higher, so we're going to get the first down on the second play. So yeah, it looks like the turn has been made there. So I think that looked pretty good right there.
Okay. All right. Good stuff there on Oracle. And I can't not ask you, what about Apple? We just had earnings. I said earlier it traded down to the 50. Technically, it's right beneath the 50, but I'm curious to hear what you see here in the Apple chart.
We're 308 it's traded at. Well, I don't know, man. I think this 315 level was kind of important. Yep. So I would think that this could have some more downside. Now, one thing to look for when these companies have these big moves, either up or down, the way it works typically with the institutional world is the traders are usually in early. The analysts, they come in around 8 or 8:30, and they go in their conference room and they have their meeting. And let's just say they decide, all right, well, these Apple numbers were bad, but the market's overreacting, so let's go buy. So like right around 10 or 10:30 in the morning, you'll see that trend start to go higher. If that happens, it usually continues. If the news is really bad, it'll just go sideways or it'll go down. But that trend, I'd be looking for that trend to start like around 10 or 10:30 or so.
Okay, that's great. That's about as specific as it gets there. Acorns, you got your battle plan here today. Mark, really, really good stuff. I really appreciate it. Thanks for hanging out with us again. I hope that you have a wonderful weekend, and I really hope you don't have to plead the fifth on anything else.
Well, it depends what my counsel advises me, I guess.
Fair enough. Mark, do me a favor. Have a great weekend. Oh, before you get out of here, real quick, folks, we got asked yesterday. Please sign up for Mark's Substack. Mark, we got asked yesterday in one of my other support sessions here. Is there links to your trading school in your Substack?
I haven't launched the trading school yet because I can't figure it. I got these stupid things, if I could get on with a human being, I could figure out what I need to do in like 2 minutes, but I've just been going back and forth with their friggin' AI model and their AI bot. But anyway, I want to get it up soon. So these are the things I think are important, right? So I don't know. Let's just go look at support and resistance. So, like, if I wanted to edit the curriculum, I can. But if I go to preview curriculum, it says the curriculum is empty.
Okay. So
So,
you pretty much have this all built. It's just not launched live for others to use.
pretty much, yeah. Like I'm pretty close, and I'm going to spend a lot of time working on the weekend. But I just need like some support from these people, and it's just impossible to get. I mean, I could show you this, you know, whatever you want to call this chat bot that's been going on for like days now. And it's like, can't I just talk to a person?
I've seen that chat bot before. That's called intercom. I recognize that anywhere. So, okay, well, keep us posted on this. Mark, one of our viewers here, subscribe to your newsletter. He's an expert in software. Maybe he can help. So I don't know.
Oh God, yeah. I mean, yeah. Just let me know. I would happy to get on a Zoom call if you could.
Yeah. Do you have an email for this person to contact you somewhere within your Substack that he's already subscribed to?
Yeah. If you're on Substack, you
can contact there you go. Knapp, we would really appreciate that. Mark, do me a favor. Keep us posted here on this. We'll see if we can help you, because I occasionally get folks that say, hey, can you teach me how to trade? I'm not a CMT. I can't, I don't feel confident. I can tell you what not to do. I can share my mistakes. I can tell you what I'm thinking, but I don't feel comfortable teaching. I'd be happy to have you kind of pick that up a little bit if you've got the capacity for it. So thanks very much. Keep us posted.
Oh, yeah, that'd be great, man. I appreciate that.
All right. Really good stuff. Mark, take care. Have a great weekend. All right. That is Mark Putrino. Really good stuff from him today. Really from the outset. Should be a lot of fun. Now, I know we're a couple of minutes late. We will not deny the man his minutes. It is pre-market pulse time, which means it's time for 13. Good morning, 13. How you doing, boss?
Doing pretty good. Ready for the weekend. How about y'all? How's everybody this morning?
Dude, everyone in the chat seems awesome. I too am waiting for the weekend. I don't know. It's been a good week. I feel like there's been a lot going on, but I am ready for the weekend.
I was curious. Did you happen to ask Mark about the double tops and how to identify that versus?
Damn it! I knew I was forgetting something at the end there. I was like, I think you're forgetting something. You can't. Damn it.
That's always next week.
Yeah, I know, but I wanted to get you that answer, and
I'm still
damn. All right. Well, remind me again. I'm sorry for dropping. This is my fault. 13. I don't know what to tell you. I dropped the ball.
Let's look at some movers.
Really quickly, I just want to apologize. I know you were texting me about the message that got deleted yesterday. I couldn't help but think back to the first time that this happened, when you sent me this long, detailed message, and at the end of it, you said, I have to lie down. And I just couldn't help it. I was laughing so much. I tried to think about that yesterday and make myself smile there. Anyway, so sorry for the random comment there. What do you have on the movers list here today? I got to imagine REPL is on there.
Yeah, REPL, FCUV, those are the two that I really looked at. There are other couple that I also wrote down. KUST, we've traded that one before. Yep. And one that I've been talking a lot about that had earnings that's doing really well was one of the consumer-facing plays, really beat down, great opportunity, and WL is on the rise.
Okay, awesome. So which one do you want to start with here?
Let's just get the movers out of the way, because NWL is actually, a real company.
Okay. Okay, perfect. First one here, the ticker is FCUV. This is Focus Universal. Just double checking to make sure I don't say something wrong here. The stock is up 332% here in the pre-market. Looks like it was actually up higher than that earlier as we traded above 10 and have come back in here. The news from today, Focus Universal announces the launch of a deterministic AI forms auto-populate engine for autonomous business document processing across trade, logistics, and SEC reporting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
you ready for Judge.ai?
I mean, that's another conversation. Here's the thing, though. Like, this sounds good. I get it, but like 340%. Can we get IDAI to do this? That would be amazing to wake up to that stock being $8 for a PR like this.
Well, it's there's other reasons why this is going.
Okay, and I'm sure you're going to cover them. So here we go. So 18.75% of the float is shorted. That's actually elevated, and that looks pretty good in accordance with these float numbers. Looks like it did a recent split here. Let me check that as well. Yeah, it sure did. June 23rd did a 4-for-1 reverse split.
It's a little weird how they have that because that's
it's a typo.
Like
it's a typo.
Split. Okay.
It's a 1-for-4 reverse split. That's simply a typo. We figured it out, but that explains the other numbers that we just looked at. Float on this under $1 million, super low float. It's already way above its average on this 330% move. 13, what do you got for this one?
Yeah. So those reverse splits have resulted in a float that's 600,000 shares. So this is one of those that's going to likely get picked up, maybe taken for a ride. It's already had a bit of a ride this morning. The company does have little revenue. It does have cash. It's not profitable, and it has very, very little debt. But what's interesting is one of the things we've been talking about recently with regard to the new NASDAQ rule. This has an MVLS, or at least it did yesterday, of under 5 million.
Oh, be damned.
Now it's above it. Certainly coming back in here to a support area around 7. I think we did lose VWAP. Yeah, we're losing VWAP. So right now, this current candle, we're going to see if we do close beneath it or recapture that indicator. But if we do hold above here, then and we get to the open and we're still hanging out at least, I would say 7 or maybe more like 650 at least. There could be some more upside here. And you could draw a simple trend line from that 1025 high through the $9 peak that we just had. And there's a bit of a trend line that we need to get through. And it still might need a little bit of time before we actually turn around and start trading back up. So I would, for me, I think I'd be waiting for a little bit lower print and maybe closer to the open before taking a stab at this one. But the news looks pretty good. I don't know what this is going to mean in terms of revenue for the company, but like I said, it's a very low float, and this could get taken for a ride.
Okay, and this is coming back into the VWAP and doing its absolute best to hold this right now. Really quick, great question here from Trevor. We cover this occasionally, but it's always worth going over again. Other than Citibank, can you guys think of a reverse split that's worked? I mean, I want to cheat and say SOXL and SOXS, but that's not real. That's not a real answer that you're looking for. The general rule of thumb here, if companies are reverse splitting, especially multiple times, it's reverse splitting itself into the ground. It's not a good sign. There's really no way to spin that. On the flip side, if companies are splitting, that's a good sign. So
the answer is yes, but I think I can only count them on like one hand.
Yeah, it is so few and far between that your general rule of thumb is that if the company continues to reverse split, it is not good. Something is wrong. And if a company continues to split because the value keeps going up, they're doing something right. That's about as easy as you can to break it down. Forsman says GE is the only example I know of where a reverse split.
Right, that's one of them.
Great example.
EKS, thank you very much for explaining that to Trey Blue. He's just telling him what that NASDAQ rule is, what I was mentioning, the 5
Here,
million.
let's put it on screen.
Yep.
Put that on screen here.
Yeah, so, if, and this has already started. This rule came into effect on July 23rd. So that means that we could start seeing companies get delisted as early as the week of August 24th. So that's going to be an important week, not just because of that, but we also have NVIDIA earnings.
Let's go.
We have GDP and PCE, and that's also the weekend. It's going to be the week of, and after that week's over, the weekend, we have the economic symposium with Warsh and the other Fed members. So it's going to be a packed week, and it could be a volatile week. And I also think that this may also put some pressure on the Trump-Xi meeting, because a lot of those companies that are going to get delisted are Chinese.
Our Chinese companies. Interesting. You know what else? We're going to be near the end of NFL preseason. We're going to be doing fantasy drafts and getting giddy.
It's going to be a wild August.
I know. Yes, it is. Yeah. Yes, it is. Okay. So FCUV, really good coverage there. That should take care of it. Next here we have REPL. This is Replimune. Stock is up big, right? Stock is up 130%. And there's some news here on this too. This was from yesterday after hours. Replimune announces a favorable outcome of its FDA cellular tissue and gene therapies advisory committee meeting for RP1 in advanced melanoma. So this is the votes 10-3 that the RP1 Ignite study results are evaluable and critically critically meaningful for melanoma. So this is really, really good news. Wedbush goes to 12 on this. Stock's already there at 12.93. Cantor upgrades to overweight on this on the back of all this thing was halted. So this is open now, popping higher here. And look at this. 40 or 50% of the float is shorted here, 6.37 days to cover, and we have a big move. Folks, there are shorts trapped in this name, without a doubt.
Yep, and thank you, Jay. I saw the Roblox move down yesterday. That's down where it should be, probably lower. But regarding REPL, the FDA approval, 10-3 vote. This, what was mentioned is that in this approval, this sets up the resubmission for their BLA. That's their biological license agreement or license application, and that is going to be set for August 2nd. So we may get another headline that could move this even further next week. So just keep that in mind. Now, the company doesn't have any revenue. It's a biotech, as most of them don't, but they do have a ton of cash. They've got over 200 million. They burn quite a bit. Company's not profitable, but I think we're just trading this thing. We're not really holding this for the long term. This is something that we could trade if there even is a trade here. It kind of looks like almost like a buyout, set of price action. But I think this will come back in potentially. I just and I have VWAP as my support. I just don't know what to really expect with this one, because usually you get a little bit more price action off of a result like this, and it's kind of been sideways mostly. So I really can't make a good. I don't really have a good indication of what levels to look for here. Maybe 12 to the downside if we lose that VWAP, and maybe 13 if we start trading up again. That's the range that it looks to me like we're in, and whichever one of those levels that we break, that could be the direction we go for the rest of the day. Okay,
all right, really good stuff there. REPL. We'll see how this ends up. Here today. All right. You also said Cust was on your list, right? We affectionately call this Krusty the Clown.
Yep.
Custom Entertainment with a K. Stock went to what, 230 earlier. Did we have news on this bad boy? Yeah. So this was from yesterday in the after hours. So we had a 13D yesterday, right? So it looks like the deal terms. Did you go through this all?
No, I only wrote down Cust because it was something that we've traded before. I didn't actually look at this one or cover it.
Okay.
So we can do it together.
Yeah. Updated deal. Here we go. The updated pact raises the deal's valuation to $6.1 million and hands Custom an immediate $250,000 non-refundable cash payment. They're also talking about CYCU here. The other thing that's notable is that this stock has a 50.65% short interest.
Yeah.
Now it's only got 1 day to cover, but really high short interest. So maybe we get some type of short squeeze action here. What do you got levels wise for Cust?
There was also a reverse split earlier this year
gotcha.
In April. Let me look here at some of these levels, which we probably have more of than we were with REPL. Okay, so yeah, we have a ton of levels for this one. So we are kind of on a decline here, looking for some support to kick in around 150, 155. Haven't quite got there yet. We are getting it from the 160 area. We're trying to recapture the 65 EMA and get back above 175. And then if we do that, then VWAP's going to be the next resistance after that. To the upside, next levels are going to be 190, 210, and 245. We haven't really gone up that high, but we've come close in the pre-market here when we initially popped up to 232. I don't know how great this one's going to be, but you do have a trend line here from that 232 high that you can draw through the high that we just had before we lost the VWAP at 830. So that would be the only indication here that I have of upside. If we can recapture some of those levels I mentioned, the VWAP, and then break over this trend line. That's about all I've got with KUST.
Okay, good stuff there for KUST. What else should we go over here? Looks like a lot. What's that?
NWL, New Well Brands.
Yeah. Here, AXTI from the movers list. Then I'm going to have you cover NWL and go to the washroom while you do it. The rest of what's on the movers list here are the leveraged ETFs for things like MBIS, Marvell, Amazon is on there, Soxel is on there. Applied Opto is on there. That's AAOI. But anyway, AXTI is our last, quote, mover from the list here. AXT shares are trading higher after the company reported better than expected Q2 financial results and issued strong Q3 guidance. Also, Needham upgraded the stock from hold to buy. This is a good move here. Nice little move in the after hours up to about 62.5. We took that out. Looks like we're finding some resistance here at 68. Quick peek at the short interest. 18% of the float is shorted with 1.08 days to cover. So it's not high by our metrics, but it's still elevated. Worth noting there. 13. I know you didn't say that you covered this one. Do you have anything on this?
I'm looking at the earnings, and it's just, big earnings beats and then an even bigger guidance raise. I mean, they were looking at an adjusted EPS of 30 to 32 cents versus the 11-cent estimate. Massive big raise over the estimates. And then the sales, 66 million versus 38. Look, I think that's really the big driver here, that this thing is just killing it on the earnings side. So, and then you also have looks to be some elevated short interest. Days to cover doesn't really match our parameters, but almost 18% of the float is shorted. So I think you're getting a little bit of additional lift there on that. Let me see if there's what levels I have for AXTI. There looks, man, this thing is just kind of taken off at the moment. I guess you could draw a trend line from the after hours high through this high that we just hit at 68.64. That would be the only real trend line that I see. Maybe you could draw into the underside as well and use that as a bit of a support level or an indicator that if we drop beneath that trend line, then this is a no touch for the remainder of the day. But it looks like it's kind of coming in a little bit here. It just had a nice run from about 7:30 up until just a few minutes ago. So if this does come back in, it looks to me like 66 is going to be one of your support levels on the way down. You do have some EMAs in the way there in the mid 60s, and then VWAP's down at 63. Those would be the next levels to the downside I'd be keeping an eye on for support.
I got a trend line for you. Originates here. It's easiest to find on the hourly chart. Originates all the way back at the end of May. Here's the reason I think this might come into play here today. Let me go back to the 5 minutes so we can see a little bit more clearly. This might be a back test level.
I agree with that.
So,
and where do you have that at the open? Where does that kind of line up with? No, you're right. Like at the open, and when we get to the open, where is that trend line going to be?
Oh, you mean right here? I got you. About $62, just shy of $62.
Okay, I'm just looking for support in that area, and it kind of, it's interesting. So here's how I look at this. You have that trend line telling you a certain level. You look at the initial move up that we had. Where did we run into resistance? Right in that same area that your trend line is.
You mean right in here?
Yeah.
Look
at that first move up. No closes. The only close that we did get was let's see, what's the price there? $61.
I think this tells us that 62 is going to be a key level today.
Yep. I think so.
That works out pretty well. Okay, let me go to the big chart here. NWL, right? That was the one that you wanted to cover. Here you go. Newell Brands. Take it away. I'll be right back.
All right. So this is one of those consumer-facing brands that I have been talking about recently because I was been seeing a lot of these stocks that are mostly related just to the AI names. Well, these consumer-facing names were getting hammered down. You had all the stores, the food names. KHC is one that I've talked a lot about. That was looking really good. This was another one, and this was starting to put in a bit of a triple bottom. The dividend yield was looking pretty good down here, and this was also getting some pretty good short interest. But additionally, this is also in the time of the year where seasonality tends to improve a little bit because this company does make a lot of outdoor brands, like Coleman, Rubbermaid, and back to school stuff like so you'll see Sharpie, Papermate. So there's a lot of great things to like about this stock in this current seasonality, and the earnings are telling us that because now they've had earnings and they've given us guidance that was above the midpoint, and it's looking like this is it just got a golden cross on the technical side. So in my mind, I think that this is looking pretty good, and there's going to be some more upside here. Now, how much upside? I don't think I can really say exactly, but think things are going to get pretty interesting once we get to the gap from February of 2025. That could either be an area where we see a lot of resistance, or depending on what if we're going into another earnings period as we approach that, maybe we see another good earnings session that lifts us up there further. But I like what New Oil Brands is doing. It's got a big turnaround that's happening here. The earnings looks great. We've got the technical golden cross. We just need to clear that 500-day SMA, and we're trading. I think we're trading slightly above it right now. It looks like we are. So we can continue to hold above that 500-day SMA. I think that there's some higher prints to be had, including a potential gap fill in the future.
Okay. Good stuff there, Newell. It looks like this gap fill is actually getting ready to get charged too. We're only $1.50 away from that. That's a $2 gap there. That looks good. 13.
Yeah, and I don't know if this is going to get filled. I mean, it might take another earnings period in order for that to happen, but it's something that I would definitely be keeping an eye on. But more importantly, we need to just start closing above that 500-day SMA. It's really looking pretty good right now. So got a couple of angles. You got the summer angle, the back to school angle. And then they guided higher for their next period earnings. So we'll see if this ends up playing out. I think it's one of the good ones.
Okay. Good stuff there. NWL. Did you have anything else that you didn't want to see? And yeah, I saw that, Alan. FCUV did pop. It is right at the pre-market highs.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, it set a new pre-market high, according to my broker here, at 1029, but it's basically in that same area there, actually sub 10 now. So anyway, was there anything else that you want to take a look at specifically, or should we start taking tickers from the chat?
Whatever everybody else wants to take a look at. I've got all mine handled there.
You got all yours handled. Okay, great. Folks, are there any other tickers that you want to take a look at? I'm looking at here. Kathy has Kohu. They reported earnings last night. That's sorry, that probably didn't make a lot of sense. That's COHU, Kohu Incorporated. They reported earnings. This thing had a big pullback here. Kohu shares are trading higher after the company reported better than expected Q2 financial results, and they guided above estimates. This thing came all the way back in towards its 200 and bounced. Never actually printed it. Now, today, we're up 26%. This takes us back up to about $58. That is right here at the top of this candle. I'll be honest with you. This actually looks like a resistance area. This popped right into resistance. So this would be one to watch if it can break that resistance. But it is at a resistance level for sure. Let me take a quick peek at the short interest on this. 21%, 5 days to cover. That is high on both metrics. So we're at a resistance, high short interest on this possible squeeze. This is a semiconductor play, supplier of semiconductor test and inspection handlers. So
another testing name earlier this week.
Well, that wasn't AEHR. What was the other one? I know what you're talking about. I cannot place the damn ticker.
Yeah, but
thank God you take paper notes. I swear.
At least we know that we're talking about the same thing here. And it might have been further back. Is it? I don't know if it's NCRA. I don't think it was. But anyway, I'm not going to spend time, looking through all this. But we did see another one where another semiconductor testing company was seeing a rebound here. But with COHU, this one is very similar to a lot of the other semiconductor names that were approaching their 200-day SMA, approaching oversold territory, and now we're getting a rebound. For me, when it comes to COHU, I see the resistance like up around, what is it, like 60? I think I would rather just have the price hold above the 50-day SMA for a period of time. I think that would, and then we can worry about past 60. I think that's what I would much rather prefer, just to have it hold at that price than try and push higher and potentially exhaust buyers to where the sellers take over and pull it right back down. So I think I would just rather see the 50-day SMA hold up.
Okay. Good stuff there. And then a couple of you guys gave us some tickers here. This is great. We took a look at Oracle with Mark Putrino. Excuse me. We took a look at Oracle already. We took a look at Apple already. I'm sorry. Velo. And then Zach here. So Zach saying IDAI seems to have some light lately. Yeah, it does seem to have come back. I don't know what's going on here. We did hear a rumor, and I stress that this is a rumor, that there might be a potential deal coming in the future. Look, I've traded this specific name on potential news in the future, and it hasn't always materialized. So I don't really feel like that's a great trigger, but it is out there. So maybe there's some positioning ahead of that. I don't know. The good news here is that because I've been trading around the core on IDAI, I'm actually not even down that much anymore on this. I'm down 28 cents on my position. I was down like over $1 on this thing, and I was like, oh man, this might be a junker that never comes back. I'm only down 30 cents or so. So at this point now, and sorry, I don't even have the chart up, Zach. I'm sorry. So I am hoping for that news, but I'm not saying that is for sure. The 200-day is at 298 here. The 500-day is at 335. I'm just going to be brutally honest with you. If this stock has any type of pop above 4, I'm taking gains. I will probably scale out of this position. It's not terribly big to begin with, but just because this has been such a dog since I was trading this thing around the core, if this thing goes to 4, I'm going to lighten considerably. So
yeah, I like the AI identity verification theme. That's one of the reasons why I own ticker YOU. And this is more, I heard some things, stock. So I'm taking that position as well. But, I think that identity verification is going to be a substantial theme in the future.
No question.
And ticker YOU, IDAI. There's another one. I'm trying to think of the name. But there's another one that tracks cargo. I think this is going to be a future theme. It's just we're probably pretty early to it right now.
Yeah, that's the thing. The theme here, that's a really good point, 13. The theme here is why I like this so much. Mm-hmm. It's why I took a risk on this micro cap too. By the way, just kind of going back to our conversation before, take a look at the splits calendar on this. This thing's done a couple of reverse splits. Mm-hmm. One in 2023 and one in 2025. Now, it hasn't continued to do that, so I'm hopefully this is the end of it. But look, this is a higher risk play. I think you is a better play, frankly, because it's more proven. I think I'm comfortable saying that. But I do like the theme here. I do like the potential here. So anyway, it has been trading better. Let's see if we can get above the 200, maybe lighten some of this and put some money in our pocket. I did want to go to Velo yesterday. Or today. This got asked here in the chat. Let me actually go to the hourly so I don't have to deal with that stupid chart. Here's what this looks like. So I actually did add in the 8s here, and I hopefully it's, I'm lucky here. As far as Velo goes, the level that I really want this to get back over is 12. This was a previous support, previous resistance. This is also where I bought or near where I bought the first time. If this thing gets back above 12, I'm going to feel pretty good about it. I'm adding back slowly to this. I don't have a big position, but I love the theme here. I love its customers. I think that this sell-off was overdone, frankly. I think the run up to 30 was probably overdone in the other direction. So it is what it is. But this has had a recent move back here. And 13, do you have anything on this chart that you wanted to cover?
I still have immense conviction in this company. I think it's going to be one of the more important ones in the going forward, especially for aerospace manufacturing and defense. I think that it's it still has challenges, sure, on the financial side, but I think as its business ramps up, they're not really selling machines so much as they're using their own machines to create products on the fly by order. So, I think that this company is going to be fine in the future. I still own it. I've been adding when it went underneath 10. So I'm just being patient. It's the whole space theme has been getting hammered lately with SpaceX coming down. So I'm just being patient. I think this is still a great stock, and I'm just being patient.
Yep. And just as this serve as a really quick reminder, 13, your schedule is changing next week. We don't know the specifics yet. He's still going to be here. Don't panic. But in the meantime, at least for Monday, I'm bringing us a space-themed guest, folks. It's going to be good. So don't worry. We're going to take care of you here. We're going to make sure 13 gets his stuff straightened out and figured out.
APPL diving as we approach the market open.
Okay. FCUV at the highs. All right. We're open. Let's go. Let's go.
And FCUV just printed slightly higher. There it goes.
SPY straight up out of the gate here.
A little bit more of that window dressing. Now, are we still expecting that toward the end of the day, we maybe see the price come back in? or are we more expecting that to happen on Monday?
That's a really good question. Where I sit right now, 13, is I expect that a little bit more on Monday. And this is why. We talked about this yesterday in happy hour. It seems that the pattern on Friday is to trade up. This is also the last day of the month, so window dressing. Wouldn't be surprised if we closed at the highs or near the highs. But man, I mean, my win rate on predicting what the market's going to do is got to be a coin toss at best. So
just have expectations and prepare for both outcomes.
Yep, just be. That's a good way to put it. Be prepared for both.
All right, FCUV popped up to 1163. It's getting a little bit of a pull here, but we do have some support at the 950 area for now. Velo, as we just talked about, that's still climbing up.
Yeah, that looked like that's continuing. SpaceX, as we talked about, continuing down. Good to see some divergence too here. 13, I don't know how you feel about this. SpaceX going down. This is the bellwether of the space theme, no doubt about it. And we're actually seeing Velo trade up against that. So something's going on here with Velo, at least.
And it's not just SpaceX they're tied to. They have
that's true. No, you're right. I'm sorry. I don't want to send that impression.
But SpaceX, I mean, I'm still waiting for sub 100.
Yeah, me too. It doesn't change my SpaceX plan at all. But another good start to the day here.
Thank you for bringing this up, EKS. So he's mentioning Eaton, which is one of the names.
Is that ETN, I think?
Yeah.
Yep.
One of the names I've been talking about with regard to electrical equipment, especially when it comes to this data center build out, solar build out, all kinds of energy infrastructure. They reported earnings and looks like they are trading higher, but they did lower guidance. So 420, it appears that's currently the its ceiling for now, but it did manage to go past 400.
Okay, Apple pulled out of the gate. Apple's battling 300. Let me know what you folks think the Apple buy spot is for a day trade.
How'd you like that call yesterday on 308 to 310?
Yeah, I went right there, and then it basically just kind of lost that in the pre-market here. Yeah. I'm wondering if there's a level here where Apple is just a buy. One of the things Mark said is that, the 10 to 10:30 Eastern time frame might be when this thing starts reversing. So keep that under your hat as well. But let me know if you have any spots there on Apple. Eric,
300's next.
Eric saying, thank you for NWL, guys. You're welcome. Thanks for joining us. Please smash the like and subscribe button to help us out. It's free.
Yeah, and NWL. I was talking about this one when it was still in the 3 handle.
Hang on. Register ring for Cam plus 7K on his overnight Apple short.
Oh wow! Well done, man.
Well done, Cam.
With NWL, this is something I've been talking about since it was in the threes. I think we've got a near 2x, like 100% gain since it was got brought up. So congratulations, anybody that started picking it up earlier. Still not sure exactly how high this goes, but we do have that gap fill to the upside. KUST, we did have a pop up to what it was about 188, and now it's reversing. Looks like it's coming in some more, headed lower.
That's KUST, you said?
Yep.
Rejected right at VWAP on KUST.
REPL, after we dropped out of the gate, it's recovering, coming up to the sideways consolidation from the pre-market. There's a large seller in the way at 1250. Need some big volume to get through that. And what's FCUV doing? Still kind of coming in, but above VWAP for the moment.
Koru, more continuation. Remember, Kospi was up 18% overnight. Koru here is your 3X Korea bull. This had a massive day yesterday. Looks like it's continuing here today. Someone asked about BBAI earlier. BBAI actually traded. Did this have earnings yesterday?
I don't know. Let's see.
Yes, it did. Okay. So it missed on EPS. Sales beat, 9% backlog growth. Sales guidance was actually in line with the estimate. BBAI up 4.59% here. Interestingly enough, the chart looked like there was, so it looks like it's really trying to kind of break away from this top here. Let's call it $3, but maybe $2.95-ish.
Oh, are you asking me? I was sorry. I was just kind of looking.
No, I just kind of saying generally here.
Okay, sorry. It was just kind of skimming through the the earnings report. So let's see, BBAI. Let me pull up my broker chart here. To me, 3 is going to be the next resistance. You do have a bit of a trend line here with some of those after hours and pre-market highs. So that could give you a target that we could be hitting very soon here, or just pretty much about to. And that takes us right to 3. So that's all lining up just nicely. And there's 3. So we could get a little bit of a pullback here, but if we do get the support levels from right here would probably be about maybe 295 to 290. And if we get all that, then we could see another a breakout either here or when the next visit up.
BBAI, it looks like this is going to 3 here.
It did hit 3.
Did it actually print 3? Mm-hmm. Yeah, it sure did.
Yep, and so it could back off, and then that's why I was saying let's watch for the support now at like 290, 295, see if that happens. And if it does, then if it turns around, the next visit up, we could feature a break through that trend line that we just tested.
And Apple looks like it printed a low of 355. It's trying to bounce. I don't know that it has great strength to do that here yet.
APPL still dealing with that 250 seller, but it looks like he's been whittled away that a little bit, like a piece of wood. What else do we got going on here? So Cust dropped down to near the 200 EMA, and it looks like it's trying to turn around.
Thank you, Matthew. 305 has about 26,000 sellers there on BBAI.
Jay Rice mentioning AMKR. That's one that he brought up yesterday. That was on the or not yesterday, earlier this week. That was on the rise. So that one's continuing to do well. This thing just after that big drop that it had earlier this week, it's seen an equally big turnaround. It looks like.
Yep.
Courtesy of Jay Rice.
Courtesy of Jay Rice. Let's go. We've got a couple of really crappy penny stocks on the list here. This is a 9-cent penny stock that's up 233%. Forget it. That's a robotic stock. MGRX, this might be the penny runner of the day here. This is up 173%. This thing closed at 29 cents yesterday. These things. I'm not going to mess with that. Amazon looks like that is breaking the pre-market high and continuing to roll forward.
All right. Now we have price targets that are looking, all the price targets I'm seeing are over 300, with some up as high as 400. Everybody thinks this is worth more than 300 now.
Yep. They had a good quarter. Amazon continues to go here. Apple, by the way, we're going to retest 300 here. So that bounce was a fake bounce early on. We'll see what it does next here. See if it retests it and hold it.
With the way that Apple's talking about supply chains and how the DRAM market needs more competition, I'm really starting to think they're going to be putting Chinese memory chips in their iPhones. And that might just initially be for the Chinese market, but I could see that extending to other international markets, which I'd be concerned about.
Tim Cook said, I think all options were on the table.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, SPY off that initial impulse move has pulled back and snapped VWAP to the downside. S&P futures are trying to hold VWAP here. Looks like it's risk on for the SPY. It is in a bullish trend. The Qs are a bit stretched, but SPY looking okay. It's just not. Let's see if 744.5 might give us some support.
U.S. Treasury has informed banks that it may intervene in yen market on Friday. We're talking about today or next Friday? Why not just say today? Good morning, Kevin.
NBIS, oh my goodness. NBIS smoked out of the gate here. Now, this was higher. Look at this. This was higher in the pre-market. It is giving everything back. We'll see if NBIS bounces at 187, but oh my. Oh my.
This go on a bit of a run. Yeah, let's see here. Well, it did earlier. This is one of those semi names, I think it's software, but one of those tech names that came down to the 200 day SMA and also approached oversold territory, and it's rebounding. So right now it's getting rejected by the 20-day SMA. I would like to see this try and trade up to the 50 at least, but with the rejection it's getting right now, it's going to need a lot more volume, a lot more attention to get back up to that other moving average. Looks to me like this could test 175 maybe.
SPY continuing to pull here, 743.5. Apple still holding on to 300. Getting some turnaround. Apple stopped at 269.46.
And EKS just posted what I was just mentioning there. Thank you, EKS. It looks like Cust is trying to turn around here. We'll see if that can recapture its VWAP. AXTI, this thing is sinking big time. So we hit that trend. We hit that top of that trend line. We lost VWAP, lost 65 EMA. All is lost.
All is lost. Men in Black. I just watched it the other day.
This is coming down to a support area. It might have hit it at the just shy of the $59 area, but I think this still could come down to about 56.50, looking for support.
FCUV, this came back into VWAP in the pre-market and bounced. This is new highs now. This actually traded above 12.
A couple of highs there. So the high from the pre-market and the high before this 1240 high that we just in this current candle, but the 2 candles before it drew a trend line with both of those, and we're breaking through this trend line right now. And if we start closing above this trend line, I'm going to want to see it act as support.
Trey says, does anyone think about the details of a dead cat bounce? No, I try not to think of the details about that. Cats are awesome. I think that's a stupid thing, to be honest with you. That's just me, though. Thoughts on the buying level for Apple with an intraday trade in sight? That's what I was asking earlier, Design. I'm thinking here 300, right? Against 300, it looks like it's trying. It's actually defended that a second time now and is trying to turn back around.
REPL, one of the other movers we looked at, this, it went down, it went up, right back to where it started, and now it's got a slow leak beneath the VWAP happening, but it's still getting support from the 65 EMA. Not sure how great this one's going to be today. FCUV is certainly much better, and it looks like we're getting an attempt to recover VWAP and the 65 EMA with KUST. See if that materializes.
FCUV back above 12. SPY continues to pull here, 742 now. Well, we'll watch 740 if that comes into play. SPY has a bear trend now. So does the Qs and so does the IWM.
Yeah, lots of stuff looking like it's getting a little weak. And it does look that way.
And that Apple 300 defense looks pretty good so far. The 305 call was looking, I actually did not get filled on that. I put my limit order out there at 140. It's 190 by 195 now, so I couldn't even get filled on that. This is why I need the bot to do it faster. SPY also might be bouncing here. 743. I didn't get a signal, though, from my indicator. We are in the trade one window, so I'm going to watch this.
Yeah, some of those names that were moving down pretty handily are starting to get a little bit of buyers to step in. We'll see if this helps turn it around. Just kind of watching FCUV, see if we're going to actually get this close above the trend line or not. I think it needs to be above 12 in order for that to happen.
NWL, this is still pulling here. We're going to see if it gets some support down there at the 15 EMA. I've got that value at 636 on NWL.
And FCUV.
Is IDAI halted for news? No, not that I can see.
How's Tesla doing today?
Tesla had a pop and a drop right back down. Looks the same as Ondas. I'll tell you what, that Apple move was pretty good. Apple move was pretty good, almost 100% on those 305 calls. Grats to whoever hit that one. I was left on the offer. Was not aggressive enough for that, I'm afraid.
Oh yeah, I haven't looked at Roblox since yesterday. Oh man. Yep, this is about where it belongs. Right in the trash. So $40 is going to be a clear resistance level for this, also a gap fill level. But I'm not suggesting that this is even, really worth picking up for a long-term trade. It might provide some good short-term trading opportunities. I don't think I'd be wanting to jump in quite yet. It is in oversold territory, so there could be some kind of reversal potentially coming. But I think it's going to be short-term regardless. This company just cannot stop at the controversy and the capital loss.
SPY continuing to pull here. We'll see if 742 supports it. It actually just lost 743. MBIS continues to get smoked. This has actually gone green to red here today on MBIS. Part of me wonders if there's going to be a bounce spot here. Maybe 185. That's a maybe. I'd be careful with this one.
REPL, this is still coming back in. If this doesn't hold above 11, I think we are going to see some continued downside. It could go on to lose double digits. Yeah, Reddit was another one that I didn't like when I was looking at that yesterday. And one of the things I was pointing out is all you got to do is look at the monthly chart. It tells you right there that this thing is going to go down. And it did. And it did.
Here, I can actually put Reddit on the screen here.
Yeah, just look at a monthly chart. This thing is clearly in a bearish pattern.
Yeah. I'm thinking 120s next, 13.
Yeah, I think that's where it's coming down to next.
Yeah, we broke out of that trend too, I think.
Yeah, I think I would kind of place it around 125 for the moment. That's going to snap a trend line if we do get down there. I do have another trend line that could represent where support could be beneath 120. So it's going to be. It looks like it could be closer to 100. But even then, I'm still not sure I'd like it. FCUV, by the way, since we got that close above the trend line, we did dip beneath it, but we just put in a new session high, 1381 now. Looks like it's still trying to climb higher.
Yeah, this is absolutely going here today. Chris Forsman, did you say that this one was the DFNS of today earlier?
It could be.
No, he said that about some, so I can't remember if it was this one or a different one, but this is rolling now.
It's the it's got the low float, but we are seeing the third upside candle here. I think after this candle, we could see the price come back in and test that trend line as support. So I think after this candle, that's what I'd be anticipating.
The Apple call made 0 for me, Canarp. I did not get filled. I was a 140 entry on the 305 call that expires today. It is 253 by 259 now.
FCUV is looking like it's entering a halt. Should be getting that notification in just a tick here. Halted. Okay. So with that halt now, we're going to be done with this candle. Out of the halt, maybe there's a slightly higher print. I think there could be some selling. I'm not suggesting that this is done. But I think out of the halt, after we've had 3 green candles, we could see some sellers step in a bit here. Keep that in mind. COHU, this thing is just straight down out of the open. Ever since BBAI hit that 3 print and the trend line, it's come back down. We've lost VWAP. We are getting some support from the 200 EMA. I think this is where support needs to be. If we lose this EMA, and I think we're still coming in even further. I would say maybe 275 5 or lower after that.
On which one?
BBAI.
EBAI. Real quick, FCUV is halted and so is DFNS, but they're different stories. DFNS halted to the downside. Boy, this thing was just $80 recently, $100 recently. It's 23 now, halted to the downside. FCUV halted to the upside.
Yep. This is, and I admittedly was surprised by how much DFNS ran, but we were telling you every single day that it was doing that this will not last, and it is doing with that. A good closing speech. The pressure. Gosh, I'll think of something. It'll probably be short and sweet. Yeah, because my last day.
Well, I mean, you're still coming back.
I'm still coming back, guys. I'm not going anywhere. I'm just.
We don't need to talk about closing speeches, guys. Come on, let's not blow it out of the water here.
I appreciate all the love, though. I would just like to see something. Well, we do have FCUV, so that's the good one here this morning.
And it's halted. Yep.
Yeah, but I would like to see something else provide some trades here, because while that's halted, we need attention shifted elsewhere. Who's getting hit next?
Netflix
KUST
down to 71.
KUST is probably done for the morning. If it can't recapture the 200 EMA, this thing just knifed right through it. Bellows trying to turn around. Seeing some names with some green, but not substantial green. Sky Q is moving, says Dream Chaser.
Yeah, remember oil's up today too. So didn't we figure out that Sky Q traded up when oil traded up?
Yeah, well, and not just oil, but like specifically refining. And I think that's one of the big things that we're seeing here is refinement capacity is the big issue. So names that are closely tied to refinement, they're going to do the best, I believe.
This is actually an amusing comment here. Will 13 return as 14? No, he will not.
Nope.
But that's amusing nonetheless. And Sal saying family first, market second, indeed. Daniel, this actually made me chuckle. Gee golly, I picked the best year to become a beginning trader. Is it always this bonkers? No, as a matter of fact, it is not. So you did actually pick a very, very difficult year. But let me look at it glass half full. If you can make it through this without getting smoked, you might have something on your hands here.
You should have seen 2020 and 2021.
Yeah.
That was a wild time, and it was because there were lots of people at home. We had COVID lockdowns, and we were also giving a ton of people extra money because we were mandating for them not to go to work and go outside. So lots of people in front of computers, lots of people trading, and crypto was emerging as a big trading vehicle as well. So it was a absolutely wild time. That's also when we had the GME craze, GameStop. It's just fantastic, trading, but also very, very dangerous at times too. SPXC earnings last night.
SPY continuing to pull here, 741.5 now. Still watching that 740 level.
This is a U.S. machinery company that does heating, ventilation, and air conditioning HVAC products. So that's interesting too, because we're still going to need a lot of this for data center buildouts. You mentioned raise their sales guidance. Looks pretty good.
Bob saying COVID lockdown, what's the best time of my life? ? I mean, I'll say this. I obviously, lockdown, there was no way I was going to listen to that. When I would go out and drive, I loved it because there was nobody on the road.
Yeah.
That was good.
All right. Well, FCUV is open and pushing higher, and here comes the selling.
Pushed right above 15, immediately got yanked back in.
But
The only thing not pulling right now is Amazon, and I can't even believe I'm about to say this, but IDAI. not pulling. Everything else seems to be pulling. SPY is still pulling. NASDAQ down at the lows. The Dow looks like it might have stopped, but that's still at the lows. Velo gave back its pop.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it really was, Zach. There were some names that were just so ridiculously low. We've never seen those prices again, and we might never see them again.
FCUV highs. So, Chris, if it was you that called this as the DFNS so far, you look good.
Yeah, I don't know if it's going to go on a multi-day run, just because the news with DFNS was like it was a stake being taken.
Yeah,
That's not the case here with this one. Also, this is we might see this thing go to 1,000% today. My lucky moniker, 13. That's my suffix.
Yeah, 13 is actually my lucky number, but 13 actually has like a real story behind it. Mm-hmm. You might as well just tell it again since there's a bunch of new people here.
Well, a lot of people have had my name before me. My father, my grandfather, and generally when you have a long line of people that have the same name, a lineage, exactly. We start putting Roman numerals after it, and it's been consecutive for 8 generations, but it goes back now 14 generations.
Pretty cool, if you ask me. BBAI, this came back in. Amazon call buying still hot out there. These are 250s, 255s, 270s. Lots of call buying there in Amazon. Where's Izzy today?
Hey, it's Friday. Give the man a break.
Well, he can have a break whenever he wants. He's under no obligation on, but Amazon is like his favorite stock.
Oh, well, then he's probably out partying.
There you go. There's the answer to my question. I guess I answered it myself.
Yeah, remember earnings were yesterday, and he had a whole evening to himself. Welsh. It's Welsh. Ken.
Tesla at the lows, SpaceX at the lows. SpaceX trying to hold 110. Palantir's doing nothing today. Bitcoin at the lows. VIX back up to 17.5. We'll see if that can get back to 20. EKS is being as melodramatic as possible.
Am I going to get a funeral too?
I mean, at this rate, we might have to look into funeral services.
Oh man.
Lion, register ring, 189% profit. Amazon calls. Nice. Where have you been? Why haven't you been telling us what your entries were? You've just been around for the victory laps.
It's kind of looking for something here that's maybe turning around or starting to look good. It's a lot of selling right now.
Excuse me. Yeah, not much looking great out there.
What else should we look at here?
CW Parker, SPY tested PDH and PDC. Pattern day high, pattern day control. What do those mean? NBIS maybe bouncing here with a big pullback. It's got 5 points to get back to its VWAP. Hello, Jessica. Good morning.
So kind of interesting, and maybe we should look at some of the gambling names like DraftKings. But there's some news about New York Governor Hochul, if that's how you pronounce her name.
Okay.
Yeah, whatever her name is. The Attorney General has sued Kalshi for running illegal gambling. So that might be good for some of these gambling names, or Hood maybe. Anything that's a competitor to Kalshi. Doesn't look like. Looks like there was a pop in these names earlier, but doesn't seem like they're holding up right now with the rest of the market.
CW Parker, previous day high and previous day close, of course. Of course. So it tested the previous day high and the previous day close, and we're within that range now, and now it's going to figure out where to go. Got it.
I mean, I'm just happy that it recaptured and started closing above 740. That's something that we haven't had in a while.
Yeah. Lion, you're trading futures. Good luck. Now is killing it. NOW. Tess has been all over this one. My bot day traded this bounce yesterday, and now that was actually pretty decent. Now we're getting some continuation here.
I appreciate that, Marcus. And you know, there's a lot of genealogy I still have to go through, but I've got a really good amount of information and history on it. Lots of names, dates. It goes back to the 1500s. So it's something that I've been working on, and maybe I'll continue to work on it a little bit more now. But it's something I've been spending a little bit of time on here and there. Would like to get a full picture for my family.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. SPY might be trying to bottom down here. 741. Here's what the chart looks like. Let me put it up here real quick. Actually, it looks like a new low was just set right now. No bounce yet. Boy, oh boy, SPY, nothing but weakness. Now, I wonder if we're going to get that turnaround about 10:30 that Mark talked about.
That'd be great. I sign off and then the market rips. Earnings forecast for which one?
Yeah, I don't exactly know. We do discuss earnings on happy hour. The squawk will definitely talk about earnings expectations right ahead of the earnings, but I don't know if that's what you mean.
He might have been talking about Amazon because that's the last thing he was talking about. Oh, after earnings? I guess I'm not understanding what you're looking for here.
Yeah, neither am I. I'm trying. Tesla at the lows, Goldman Sachs at the lows, Amazon at the highs. Amazon printed above 270 now. Apple's rolling back over after that nice bounce that I got left behind on.
Looks like a lot of the crypto names are lower. That might be in relation to the fact that we still haven't got passage of the Clarity Act.
Yeah, Coinbase reported earnings last night.
That got
right.
hit, and MSTR as well.
And MSTR, and then also Bitcoin's at the lows here today. So there's a lot going on. Selena is asking, any signals yet? Not on the 0 DTE. No signals on the 0 DTE. The bot took 2 trades. It took an NBIS trade out of the open that it got absolutely smoked on. And interestingly enough, it did not stop at the stop price. So this actually, in fact, let me take notes on that. This is actually something that I'm going to need to debug tonight. I'm just going to reiterate something that I've learned from this entire project. If you guys ever go down this road, you absolutely must test on paper for multiple weeks, because every day is different and it makes dumb mistakes sometimes. Like, I very clearly have a stop strategy. It clearly went through the stop. Got to be able to have this stuff debugged before you put real money on the line. It also scalped Pan W to the upside, but nothing great there. Let me take notes here for this. Notes from today.
I think I can answer your question. So we do discuss earnings. If you're referring to here on this show, it's yes, but maybe to a lesser degree. We discuss it far more in detail on our happy hour meeting that we have after the market closes. We have those meetings Monday through Thursday. So we were discussing Amazon and Apple yesterday and looking at some of the things to me, I think I was pointing out how it looked like China's greater China sales for Apple was down compared to the last quarter. And then they also had some other concerning news about supply chains and memory and increased costs. So we did go into a little bit of discussion with that, but nothing that we've really brought up too much here. It's something that when in pre-earnings, we also kind of discuss where we think it could go based on what the earnings results might be. We do discuss earnings and what expectations are. But yeah, it's something we certainly talk about.
Profit Logics, what does your AI trading setup consist of? I'm experimenting with Robinhood, Agentic, and Grok without success thus far. I may switch. I don't think Grok to Claude is necessarily going to change it. They do coding the same. What is going to make or break this is whether or not your strategy is sound and if the bot actually executes all the different parameters of the strategy. I'm actually running 4 different strategies, 2 cloud-based strategies, a fair value gap strategy, and a 0 DTE scalping strategy. Gerald says you'll be blown away by GPT Sol or Opus 5 Fable once you switch from Grok Lol. Doubt it. First of all, I would never use GPT. And second of all, I've used Claude, and it doesn't really give me any type of benefit that I can detect. Plus, I'm actually about to get Grok Build 4.6 coming out. Grok has been awesome. Grok Build has been absolutely awesome for putting this entire thing together. The faults don't lie with Grok. It lies with the strategy and the rules that you put in to protect yourself.
And you get that new Grok next week, I believe.
Yep, Grok 4.6 is next week.
SPY now down to that support we discussed, 740. It's getting close to it.
Yeah, we want this to hold here. So this is one of the things that I'm kind of waiting for here for a potential 0 DTE trade. We'll see if we end up getting a good hold down here. I'd be looking at the 743 call if we can hold. SkyQ to 6. Are you long that, Westcap? You've been doing great with some of these movers recently. Really been trading those well. Okay, here comes 740 on the SPY. We'll see if we hold this.
When is Fed's Logan supposed to stop speaking? When is all the Fed
was she on the list for today?
Logan, Hammock, and Kashkari have all been speaking today. I'm just kind of wondering when they're done, because is that going to be 10:30?
Yeah, you know what? I don't even think I had them on the schedule. Let me check something here real quick.
That'd be kind of wild. It'd be kind of wild if that's what marked off the 10:30 turnaround, because they've been speaking, since before the market opened, and the market's kind of been, we did have this one upward move around 9 o'clock, but we've been sinking ever since we opened.
On Friday, I actually don't have the list of speakers in my little cheat sheet for the economic data. Damn, I thought I was going to be able to answer that pretty easily. Don't have that for you.
BBAI lower now. I don't know if it's going to go into a downside hole. It might not be volumetric enough, but it is losing some of those levels we were talking about. SPY now underneath 740, approaching 739. What up with Apple? Earnings is what's up with Apple.
Yeah. And it came down to 300 and held it. That's actually a good sign so far, too. Now, I know we got one bounce on there. I think we might actually get another. But I would still watch that 300 level throughout the course of the session here today. Mm-hmm. Ryan says, come on, Grok does not compare to Claude. Have you used Grok? I suspect you haven't. I've actually wrote one of the strategies that I'm currently using with Claude, and it's not performing any better than the others. So I really don't think that's it. I really think the quality of the strategy that you have is going to be way more dependent on what large language model you need. And I love Grok's interface more so than Claude.
See, I think when it comes to Apple, this stock should have been already selling off in the middle of the month. There was a reversal that had happened, from July 13th and 14th, and the 15th. We were supposed to get a resolution of this bearish reversal. What happened was there was news that came out that that Apple was going to be allowed to have Apple Intelligence in China and open up that market to Apple, but they had to use QN from Alibaba in order. Or I think they're working on a China Apple Intelligence platform using QN. So with that approval, the stock started going higher because it's broadening its market out there. So it should have been lower already. So I think this is 2 weeks behind. This move down is 2 weeks behind, in my opinion, only because they got that news from China.
10-year Treasury is at the high, so that is likely pulling the market down here. Also, Bitcoin got smoked like really quickly here. Huge volume candle on the Bitcoin futures, traded all the way down to 62,400.
It's going to probably go to 60.
Yeah, Yeah, we talked about, what was it, 53, 52, the bottom end of that range. Still don't think that's over yet.
Yeah, I'm Bitcoin chart on Pro is still giving me problems. I don't think that. Well, I think by November, December, we'll have already seen the bottom of Bitcoin. We'll be in recovery.
Barb, Ryan, have you asked Claude or Grok to optimize your trading strategy for you? I used Yahoo Finance 60 days of past charts to train and optimize mine. So one of the things that I did do with the trading bot was I asked it to keep a ledger of all of the trades, even if I like clear out the paper trading results. Like when I make a substantial change, like the entire architecture of the quote system, that seemed like a good time to reset the P&L for paper trading. But nonetheless, it retains the ledger. So I'm always able to ask the tool to go back and analyze entry, exit, and then compare that versus the rules and say, hey, what went wrong here? But I'm not turning it loose to redo the trading strategy yet. I mean, if I get to a point where I feel like I have to do that, I will. But for right now, I'm having it actually analyze the trades that are put through. Barb said, are they both Python? Yes, they both write Python code with no trouble at all. And we mentioned that earlier, Jay, that coin got hit on earnings yesterday. Ed, buying IWM calls in the money for Tuesday expiration. So it sounds to me like you're looking for an IWM bounce here, right? Let me know. IWM stretched and in bear regime right now.
FCUV, the downside.
Okay. IWM also at its 65 EMA on the daily. This actually, so Ed, I think I understand your trade. This actually looks like a support level. So it looks like you're trying to trade off of this level, right? I guess let me know what the downside stop is on that if you have one. And otherwise, the target, I bet you're going to try and let that run. Yes, that's the way. Okay, cool. Yeah, Trey, what I think I might do is I might, if I end up doing that, if I end up like creating a video about the entire thing, I will be able to go back through the log and show the actual prompts itself, what the large language model spit back and how I actually implemented that. I haven't done recording along the way, because I think that there are small mistakes that I make that probably aren't all that significant, but there are much bigger mistakes that I want to highlight. Ryan, why won't you use ChatGPT? ChatGPT of all of the models, I think, are the worst. It's also the most woke. Just not even worth it.
Yeah, the news from Zach here regarding OPTT, Ocean Power Technologies. They got a $40 million contract to map the ocean floor.
18 cent stock.
Yesterday's high bounce. Yeah, it's pretty close. I don't think we've hit it exactly, but it's pretty close. We'll see if this does get some support here, or if it's just going to give everything back and go down to $1 again. Looks like AXTI is really getting support from that 200 EMA. I'd like to see it move up away from that. KUST now declining further.
More declines across the board. SPY broke 740. It is at 738 now. No turnaround in sight here. A lot of other names are following suit. Tesla at the lows, going lower. SpaceX at the lows, going lower. Apple looks like it might retest 300 to the lows. Netflix new lows. Ondas new lows. Palo Alto new lows. VIX continues to climb, 18.5 now. We are in risk off for sure across the board. We are in bear regime for SPY, Qs, IWM. It is nasty out there.
And we still have 15 minutes before that supposed 10:30 turnaround. So we'll see what happens in 15 minutes. FCUV open again, trying to capture the trend line we drew.
Velo also continues to pull back here.
Oh, yeah, everything's pulling.
Yeah, everything is pulling here. Everything is pulling. And the bot obviously has a long bias, so it hasn't picked up anything. I am curious to see if we get a reversal, especially in SPY, around the time that Mark said. That's now, 10:15 right now. He said 10 to 10:30. I'd be very curious to see if this turns around at all. Not in a rush, though. And Ed, how about the call yesterday? I think you were on the side of, this Friday might be weak, right? People unloading positions as they go into the weekend. It's early in the day, so we'll see what happens here. But so far, that looks to be pretty good. Trevor saying, Ryan, is the plan to sell? I don't have it. The plan is for me to be able to use this. Anything that happens after that will happen after that. Anne-Marie, okay. I don't know. Do you have access to Slack? I'm guessing that you do. Let me know.
All right, MGRX Dollarland. Google still hanging in there.
I think we pick back up at the end of the day. Okay. All right, Ed.
Let's see what NVIDIA is doing today. It popped up to 200 and then it came back down to 195.
13, Anne-Marie is having some power issues at her place. I don't know that she's going to be able to join here in 14 minutes. Are you available? If not, no big deal.
I can stick around a little longer, yeah.
Okay, because we do have Sandy coming up after Anne-Marie's segment, so got to stick around until Sandy. I just might not have Anne-Marie for that.
Okay, well, then I'll be able to see if this market turns around with y'all.
Yeah, you will. And how about it? How about we get rewarded with a turnaround and a tradable bounce to the upside because 13 sticks around? I'm going to need way more likes if that's the case. I'll tell you that much right now.
Big B is saying Reddit falling over, sub 140. Love to see it. Tesla China spinoff before SpaceX merger. So that's something that's been hitting the news in the past 12 hours or so about rumors of Elon Musk spinning off their Tesla China business so they can do the SpaceX merger. I think that's what you're referring to. And so far, Elon Musk has come out and said that that's not happening.
Oh, you know what's funny? So 13, I didn't get a chance to cover this.
Okay.
And I'm so glad that you're bringing this up.
Well, I'm not bringing it up. Marcus did, but I'll talk about it.
Sorry, you were the one that triggered it. So here's the story. I couldn't get to this earlier. Elon Musk dismisses the report that Tesla could sell the Chinese business for SpaceX merger, called it, quote, absurdly fake news. Absurdly fake news. Musk, responding to the whole Mars catalog, dismissed the rumors. Quote, this has never even come up in a discussion ever, end quote. Absurdly fake news. People should assume news is fake until proven otherwise. Here, anyone that's interested in this story, here is the story.
And
there you go.
I think one of the reasons why they might be doing that. Let's just say that that's a big maybe, even though he's saying it's not. If he says that or alludes to anything that they are possibly doing that, then Beijing is going to come down on that company and tell them to open their books. Why are you leaving? They just passed all these new rules, so it makes it very hard for multinational companies to leave China. So I would absolutely think that that Musk is just saying, no, that's not happening, but it could be happening. They just don't want to alert the Chinese authorities.
Jay says, Ryan, if you were in Detroit, I would give you permission to leave and go watch the Rocket Mortgage. So I heard that the course is actually, they've made a lot of renovations to it. It'd be interesting to see what it's like. And the field's loaded. I'd love to. Not in Detroit, though.
Look at the market. We're getting a bounce in some of these names. Velo turning around, COHU turning around. Looks like BBAI is turning around. AXTI is turning around. We're getting some support with FCUV. Let's look at some of the big names. Are we getting a turnaround in Apple?
No, Apple's still holding 300, but it's not showing any sign of a turnaround yet of any kind. Now, SPY did bounce, and I think it recaptured it recaptured the 9 EMA. but it's pulling again. See, I just don't trust this yet. 742, 738. I could see us getting back to 742 today, but we would have to have a substantial bounce. And I just don't know that we have the strength for that. I've been shorting NASDAQ all day and printing money like the Fed. Lol, lion. Ryan, you think IND open IND? Oh, we've traded this one before. INHD, right? This is one of those crappy movers that we've traded before.
Holdings.
And it's halted right now.
This is on resuming the trading on NASDAQ. So it looks like there may have been a compliance issue.
Here we go with the bounce again on SPY. You know what? I like pain. I'm going to try this. I mean, I'm going to have a real tight stop. If this comes back in, so I got filled at 97 cents. I'm just probably going to stop at 90 cents on these contracts. We'll see.
Meta push through VWAP.
INHD, WIS, I'm looking at this. This is halted here. Stopped out on that SPY bounce. Forget it.
This is a lot of volume for NHD today.
INHD has had my money for 3 weeks now, up 400%. So this thing, remind me again what happened, because I wasn't trading this thing. This thing got halted on, back to resume trading on July 31st. That's today. What did it get halted for?
It was, there was a temporary restraining order on this, it looks like. And then the magistrate judge who was referred to work on this case, entered a memorandum and recommendation, which stated that at this time there was no TRO in place. So they had a TRO. I don't know exactly what for, but apparently another judge came along and lifted that, and now it's allowed to resume trading on NASDAQ. At least that's what I'm getting from all this.
Now we're actually getting a bounce here in the SPY. Yeah, sorry on INHD. I would think that this opens down personally, but I don't know much about it, WIS. SPY is still bouncing here, so re-entered that trade at 98. I actually think SPY could go here 740 and a half. Okay, so there's a little bit more.
Okay, so yeah, there was a trading spike in this, and NASDAQ played a code T12 trading halt on this. And then later that last month, a district judge entered a TRO against the company based on a plaintiff's motion and complaint. And then on July 10th, the new magistrate judge issued a memorandum and recommendation that lifted the TRO.
Okay, so that sounds bad. That sounds like it's going to open up down.
Well, I think because it's been, not allowed to trade, it could spike. I mean, I don't know if it's going to halt down. I could be completely wrong about that, but it's, when you're letting it out of the cage for the first time in weeks, I think that you're going to see an initial upside move. I could be wrong.
Yeah, Lion, I got my money back from that first stop there. I don't like giving the market money. I just got back what I lost on that first spike down. And actually it is fading here off of this, so we'll see if this sets up again. The bounce will probably fade. You look like that is correct. Yeah, it's the same with me, Scott. Schwab doesn't even show a price or chart for INHD. Same with me. It actually left the NBIS chart on there.
Well, we don't have a chart for that one, but you can look at this one. Now with NHD, because you said it's halted, it may unhalt and fill the gap that was created back in December. So I would take it up to about 52. we'll see.
SPY maybe gearing again to try and go through those highs, maybe shaking out some of those weak hands. Here we go. This is going to go higher here. Maybe. Ryan, you just fed the cat.
That's what I was laughing at.
Oh, you know what's funny about that is that I can hear my cat crying in the other room. In fact, let me just go check and make sure everything's okay. I'll be right back. 1 sec, 13.
No problem. That's another hungry cat over there. All right, so what do we got here? Looks like we're continuing to see that weakness in REPL. This thing just only one green candle here today, and it was right after we opened, and then just nothing but red. FCUV, this getting support from the VWAP. I'm not sure we're going to see a whole lot of great movement in these movers for the time being. Maybe later on today they'll come back, but for now, I think a lot of volume has left the market, and they're probably not going to trade as well as they have been. Let's go take a look at some of these bigger names. We still have Apple trying to get some support from the 300 area. It is now over 303, so there's some encouraging movement there. AMZN, we are still hanging out here close to 270. This is near the all-time highs that we're at, so I would expect there to be some sellers looking to take some profit. We're also getting pretty close to overbought. Not quite there yet. This could still climb higher before we reach that. As a matter of fact, this might even go into the high 280s or low 290s before we get to that point. So still could see some upside on Amazon.
Real quick here, everything's fine, by the way. Cat is just super pissed that I won't let him outside. I'll do that here when the show ends. He's fine though. Real cat or metaphorical cat? It's a real one. He actually used to be a show favorite when he would climb on the back of my old chair. He doesn't do that anymore. Can't with the new chair.
Oh, is it not enough space on the headrest area?
Yeah, it doesn't really have one anymore. Like he used to be able to lay across it. Now it's just kind of like a flatter headrest. Now it does look like, so this move down here in the SPY looks like maybe this is over temporarily. Let's see here if we push higher on SPY. It's trying. Want to see if it can recapture this previous 5-minute candle high. I have that at 740.12. So let's see if SPY can actually get rolling here. We do have some ways to the VWAP too.
Microsoft looks looking like it's having a hard time getting back up to 465. That's near the high that we made in June, on June 1st, before we had this massive selling that took us down to the lows, the 52-week lows. So I would think that this area around 465 is going to provide some resistance. We've already got that a little bit here. We are still above the 500-day SMA, which I like.
All right, SPY is now. Who?
Wiss.
Oh, take care, Wiss. Take care of yourself. SPY is trying to bounce here.
Yeah.
We are bouncing again. Lion, what do you think? Okay, I have no trade here. So what do you think of this bounce? Is this a real one? Bought the dip in SPY 740 calls. Okay, Captain Cloudy. What kind of stop do you have on this?
I wonder if we see a previous all-time high provide some resistance on this bounce here. That would be a resistance area of 740 and 79 cents. We're coming right back up to it. As a matter of fact, that is pretty close to the high from the 1050 candle.
SPY might come into some resistance right here. It might actually take a little bit to kind of work its way through this area back towards the VWAP.
I'm sorry, not 1050, 1005. Yeah, so it's looking to me like that 740 previous all-time high area is going to be resistance, at least for the time being. We get through that, then I'd be looking at 742.
Ed, how about that entry, man? How about that IWM entry? I know it's early and there's still more of the day to go, but boy, oh boy, you gave that live when you took it right on the support. So far, so good. You know what? One up for that, Ed. One up for that call. I think you have a chance to go to 743. Okay. I'm actually trading the 742 call. Watching that 10-year like a hawk. Good idea, Cam. Is that still spiking, or did that level off at all? Oh, one more thing about the large language models real quick. If you don't pay for any of them, or you don't want to pay for any of them, you should be using all of them, regardless of what you think about one or the other. Like, use the free credits that are given to you until you absolutely need to pay for something. That's another piece of advice that I would give you. Have the different language models check the work that you did at the other one. All right, 740, 50, 740, 60 now. This looks like this is going to try and push higher to that VWAP.
Yeah, Mangoceuticals was getting mentioned here by Dara, and that is just kind of strange what they've got going on.
MGNA, is that what the?
It's MGRX.
MGRX.
It's a penny stock, but it was over $1 earlier. It's just it says it's in one sector, but it's got several things going on, like nuclear energy. There's another business angle it has where it's got respiratory or inhibiting. So there's a patent they have for antiviral animal feed and drinking water additive technology. I mean, it's kind of weird. They're. I'd have to look at this company more closely to see all the different things they've got going on, but it seems like they're in the medical space and the nuclear space, even though they're a consumer staples company.
That sounds a tad off.
Yeah.
Dara says it has 3 employees. Jammin', I got 53% on some QQQ put, 0 DTEs. There you go. Good for you for trading the short side. Registering for you on that.
APPL, one of the movers from this morning, getting a rebound here near the 200 EMA on the 5-minute, coming up to the VWAP now. It looks like CUV is also trying to climb back up as well. What is going on here? So it's coming back up to our trend line, FCUV, after getting support from VWAP. Volume doesn't look as good as it was out of the gate here, so we're going to need to see some bigger volume expansion if we're going to get back up through $13.
Okay, this SPY bounce is grinding its way back to VWAP. Glad we were patient here today. Lion says, I believe the bounce will fade as the day goes. So the point was made by a viewer earlier. It was CW Parker, tested both the ranges, the ends of the range, test the high end and the low end of the range. And now it's just kind of range bound, trading back to the VWAP.
Odie, so it's he's asking anyone what's more profitable, being a day trader or buying options. And I'm assuming you're just talking about day trading stocks, but you can also day trade options.
Yeah, I would say both of those are extremely high risk, and the better one is investing, which you did not list.
Yeah, but more profitable, I would. It's hard to say which one's more profitable because they both come with their own risks, their own set of risks. Like options have a time risk to it.
Yeah, I mean, if you're strictly limiting it to day trades on options versus stock, I would imagine that you'd probably be more profitable on the options trades, providing you are profitable. Remember, with options, although you can have higher reward, that can go to 0. Like if you trade Apple today, I'm confident saying Apple's not going to 0 today. But if you trade an Apple option, that could go to 0 easily. So, I mean, there's a lot. I don't know if you could just answer that right on the outset. There's a lot that goes into that.
Yeah. But in the framework of the question, that's kind of what we're trying to say.
And I agree with Jay here. Day trading options much harder. I know some of us like Lion here make it look easy. It's not. It's not. And 13 and I make no bones about that. We tell you that this job is not easy. It is a hard job, but it is a rewarding job when you get things right.
Yes, C. John, I am holding TSCO. That is a long-term hold for me. It is an investment, not a trade.
Now, Anne-Marie, you had asked, is Coinbase at support? Yes, it is, Anne-Marie. Very clearly looking at this daily chart, 140. In fact, I think we talked about this yesterday when we were looking at coin after its print. I don't know that it's going to hold that support today. That's my issue. Day trading is not for the faint-hearted, indeed. And the problem with day trading is that someone that doesn't know much about it sees someone make a lot of money and they think, oh, I can do that. And good to have that belief, but there's a lot of very difficult things that go into it. It's not just, and then the other thing, and this happened to me right when I started, it made like 10 grand in a week. And I was like, oh man, this is my new job. You get humbled quickly. Let's just put it that way.
I don't think I've had a better experience with beginner's luck than day trading, because there's been a lot of times where I myself included, where I've seen a lot of people do absolutely fantastic when they start out, and then as time goes on, they start to make a lot of mistakes bad decisions that some inexperienced traders will do, it'll come back. I'm just going to hold on to it, and it'll come back. It goes down to zero. You got to know what you're trading. You've got to at least do the research, and you've got to have some discipline.
Not easy.
How can you obtain this beginner's luck?
That's a really good question.
Give it a shot.
I wish I could get that back too.
You have to give it a shot. I don't recommend it though.
Oh, that is funny. Humbled.
I could check in the back and see if I still got any left.
See if you're out of stock on that. That's not bad. Tess says humbled often still. Me too. And guys, it's nice to have I've talked about the bot being able to go to the beach and play golf while the bot makes money. Okay, that's great. But what the other real key driver for me for this is the machine takes the emotion out of it. How many times do we bring Mark Putrino on here and he talks to us about trader sentiment, trader mentality, emotion? I mean, every expert that I talk to, everyone that's been doing this longer than me says the same thing. And if you can devise a system that removes that and makes it all mechanical, you might actually be putting yourself in a better position. That's what I believe. That's also why I said it doesn't matter what large language model you use. What matters is the engine that you code, the strategy that you code. Is it sound or does it get exploited? For instance, today, the NBIS trade that the bot took and got absolutely wrecked on, it had a stop that didn't fire. That's why it got wrecked. The trade was wrong, but the trade structure was still acceptable. It just didn't stop at the stop price it was supposed to and ended up taking a huge red number. I mean, that's a coding error. That's just an error. I mean, you got to fix that.
Yeah, and you do have to really have a resolute measure of discipline. You've got to be willing to take the losses when you realize that the strategy you're deploying is not working for your trade. It sucks. It's not fun. But unless you want to lose more money, it's necessary.
Yeah, and that you're absolutely right about that. Brian here was saying earlier, I think I'm just paraphrasing here. I'm more proud of the person trading turned me into than the money. So that's the other thing here about trading. It will make you check yourself. One of the hardest things for people to admit is when they're wrong. This job trains you that you have to be able to admit you're wrong or you will not survive. Anyone that's been doing, I'm just going to throw out a number here. Anyone that's been doing this for 10 years or more means that at some point along the line, they learned how to admit that they were wrong about something. Otherwise, they'd be wiped out. 10 years is a big enough sample size. If you cannot be able to admit that you're wrong, you cannot do this job.
And you really should, if you're going to be doing day trading regularly, it's going to be in your benefit to keep a journal of your trades.
Yep.
So that when you go back and see what worked and what didn't, you can learn from that, and you can see what mistakes you made and make sure you don't repeat those mistakes. It's very important to keep a journal of what you've done, so that if you and it helps you remember what you were feeling when you were making these trades and what mistake you made when you were getting emotional about the trade. having a journal is going to be one of the biggest helps to becoming a better trader. So I certainly would recommend that you keep one.
100%. One of the things that we did in Benzinga Pro is we actually added a notes field here, so that someone that didn't want to spend money on a trading journal could basically make a digital makeshift journal here within Pro. 13, I think you do some of the best job that I've seen of the people that I know about taking handwritten notes so that you're able to actually find them when necessary, which is something that I struggle with because I got note files all over the damn place. The other thing here, again, going back to the bot, one of my core principles when I started developing this was code in a ledger, because guess what? That's your trading journal. And if you have reasons why that trade's either stopped or won, plus you have targets for the trade, reasons for entering the trade, stop levels on the trade, you can review all of that and get a better picture. Whether you're doing it yourself, journal is a good thing. If you're doing it with a bot, you absolutely must code in a ledger and be able to review that. TradingView has a journal up 30. That's true. Trader Sync has a paid for trading journal that does a lot of stuff for you. I don't pay for it. I don't use it, but the demos that I've seen and the people that I know use it speak very highly of it. I almost got liquidated in 2025. Good thing I found this channel. You're citing us for stopping you for getting liquidated. That might be the best compliment we've received all day, maybe all week. That's unbelievable, Vaughn. I tend to think that a light bulb went off and you're the one responsible for that. But that's a very nice comment.
No, I'll take it. Absolutely. Oh, that's interesting. That piece of information there, Jay.
Today, Dennis was wrong on Roblox. Bought it at 80, sold it at 75. Some of your best trades are losses. Don't be fooled by social media where practically nobody has a loss. That's another thing. That's another thing. If someone tells you that they lose often, they're probably more trustworthy. Just as a general rule of thumb. If someone, I know Tim, Tim says he's his bank positions, he's never lost. I can't remember. I don't want to paraphrase for him, but everyone takes losses no matter how good you are. Warren Buffett and Paul Tudor Jones take losses.
Yeah, that's interesting you brought them up because they actually took a lot of losses just recently, Berkshire, when they were raising capital, getting out of positions that weren't working. One of the ones that I picked up that they got out of was Pool, POL. I like that one. And they sold it at a loss. It just didn't turn around for them. I think they got out a little bit too early, but they also have a different plan for what they're trying to do with their capital. They're getting ready for some big purchases they're going to hold for a long time.
Bingo.
By the way, FCUV, great movement here through the trend line again. It's coming up to some resistance or at the 1450 area. But if this holds above the trend line, there may be some more movement into this one that could take it up further. Just kind of launching it for now. I took a little bit of a trade on this one. I'm not in it anymore, but just waiting to see if we continue to get that upward move.
Dan here saying, where is your Lambo, lol? So I don't have one. I know this might come as a shock to people that are on the internet talking about trading. I have not made enough money to buy a Lamborghini yet. If that means you don't want to follow me, okay, there you go. I can't promise anybody a Lamborghini, but here's what I can promise. I've learned a lot in this career. I'm in a position where I feel like I'm lucky because I'm able to meet other people that are in this industry that offer me a different perspective and allow me to refine the way I look and actually do things. So I'm very grateful for that. But I can promise you that I can teach you things that I've learned. I can't promise you that I'm going to make you successful. Ultimately, at the end of the day, that's going to come down to you. That's going to come down to your mentality, how you click the buttons, how you look at things. I can teach you things that I've misstepped on, but I can't make anyone else wealthy. I'm still trying to do that myself. You can't sit in a Lambo, Ryan. They'd have to fold
FCUV going into a halt.
Yeah, it is 1615. I had this on screen, and actually SPY looking to retest VWAP here. We'll see if it moves through the VWAP.
And if I had money to buy a Lambo, I don't think I would.
I'm more partial to
that
Ferrari.
disposable income because I don't want a depreciating asset.
Yeah,
that's just me though. I'm not such a car guy that I would spend that kind of money. I would probably get a classic car, something I could maybe work on. That would be the course I would take. That'd be
my producer here is saying a collector's edition, but then you wouldn't drive it because that wouldn't be a depreciating asset, like you said.
Yeah, I mean, something that's a little bit cheaper that I could, like I said, work on, make a project out of it, do something with my, with my sons, things like that. It's something I can enjoy in more ways than just driving. I want to work on it. I want to improve it. I want to make it unique.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons I do that with my car now, and I love it.
Yeah, exactly. Retro. Give me some land over a car. I would love more farmland. That'd be great.
Me too. Fabian saying the market opened well. What happened after 9:45? So it looks like we basically just sold the pop. And actually, Fabian, one of the things that we had seen here, like if you were to look at SPY, we basically tested each end of the range, and we're still within that range. So to me, it actually looks like sideways trading here. Let me show you what we mean here. So, and actually, did we end up hit the low? Yeah. So Thursday. Okay, so here we go. So this morning, we tested the high of the pre-market. We were basically over the high of Thursday, but we immediately coughed that up. It actually looked like we were going to go test the low of Thursday. We didn't quite get down there. This is basically just range bound here. Now, I know it feels nasty because let's measure it. Let's actually take a measurement here. Let's go here to here. We had a 1.12% sell-off in the matter of what, an hour? So it felt nasty. 13, you were saying that Lori Logan was speaking earlier. I actually didn't read those. Was there anything in there that we can maybe attribute to this? Shame on me for not doing that. Risks to inflation are to the upside. Solid job market is strengthening a bit. Monetary policy is not restraining the economy. Inflation not on course to 2%. So we just had Warsh say, we promise we're going to go to 2%. And Lori Logan a couple of days later saying, yeah, we're not on course for that, but lol. Without any policy restraint, inflation will likely continue to trend above target. So you know what? Now at second glance here, no wonder you asked if she was still talking 13.
Right.
Because it looks to me like she had very, very hawkish stuff here.
That's kind of what I was getting at is this just a move down on Fed speak? And I know we've also talked about, the end of month window dressing, which also is certainly a factor here. But I think because of the Fed speak this morning, that was putting pressure on the SPY, and that's why I was wondering if when that Fed speak was over, because then we could possibly see a market reversal. So I was wondering if maybe around that 10 o'clock, 10:15 or 10:30 time that Mark was mentioning is when they're done talking, and if that's the case, we could see the market rebound like it is. I don't know exactly what time they stopped talking, but if it's around the time where we bounced, I think that lines up pretty well.
Trey says, for a second, I almost wanted to become a kid again, ripping packs for that Ohtani card that got $10 million. That just got pulled in Florida, right? My buddy sent me a picture of that. Didn't that just get pulled yesterday? That 1-of-1 card for Ohtani, that's like $1 million. But Lion says, guys, have a great day. I'm going to enjoy my Lambo. After all of that, Lion's just like, see this can of gas? I'm just going to kick it onto this fire here. You guys have fun. Way to go.
Some of these names turning around. KUST got some support down at 125. That's trying to turn around here. Volume needs to be a lot better, though. We have COHU that's kind of going sideways. REPL, that continues to recover. It's trying to get back over VWAP right now. It just climbed over it. We'll see if it can hold as it approaches the 65 EMA. FCUV, we should be getting an unhalt of that in, what I think, maybe 10 minutes. What was the halt time on this?
On FCUV?
Yeah.
It was 10:44:35. So we're 5 minutes into this.
5 minutes into this. Okay, so if this is a 15-minute halt, then yeah, we are going to have another 10 minutes. And then we'll see if this, do you see that how in FCUV, we did have one trend line we drew. Since we put in another high, we do have a second trend line that we can draw from that same starting point. So if you take the pre-market high and you draw through the regular session high, out of the unhalt, I'm kind of curious if we get up to that trend line. Yeah. Oh, here we go. We just unhalted, so it was a 5-minute halt.
Perfect.
And it's lower initially. We'll see if it gets support from that first trend line that we drew. It should be about 1365. It didn't come down quite that far. It's trying to go green here. See what that one does.
Market, by the way, SPY here continuing to push to the upside. So this bounce has been awesome. I'll tell you what, Mark Putrino does it again, guys. He told us, dude, the dead bottom of this. Okay. He literally this morning told us how the dynamic works and how between 10 and 10:30, generally you have portfolio managers sitting down, starting to make decisions. Look at this. 10:10 to 10:15 marked your bottom, literally halfway through the time zone he gave you. This thing is, but this is retraced 55% of its move down already. So Fabian, to your question earlier about what happened, we're just trading a range right now. Summer Friday, we're trading a range. That's it. Look at the IWM. Ed has 2 emojis. I think Ed is banking on this. I'll tell you what, though. This call was good. This call was good. He literally gave this in real time at the support level, said, I'm doing this, and it has done nothing but bounce since he gave that entry call. Now, I'm going to give you another one up for that. I'm not going to ring the register because you're still in it. We're not going to do preemptive register rings, but I will give you the one up for that. That call was unbelievable. Captain Cloudy, looking more off your bounce play. That's what we want to see, folks. So we've talked a little bit about lessons here. Here's one. We got to move up, then we got a nasty reversal, and the market got pounded. And a lot we kept saying here, everything's trading down, everything's trading down. The folks that are green today, they sat in, they didn't panic, they were patient, and they waited for the opportunity to present itself, and then they took advantage of that. Some might have made more than others. That doesn't matter. The process is what matters. You were patient. You didn't let the negative or the red candles scare you away from your process, and lo and behold, you got green on the screen. All about process. The numbers at that point, probably not even as important.
Brandon doing well too with BE, Bloom Energy.
I'll hand out register rings. Sure.
Yeah. Hand them out like Oprah. You get a register ring.
That's got to die at some point. Not her, but the whole thing. Like that's got to go away. Yeah, I'm not wishing death on anybody, but that whole like you get a car, blah blah blah. That was what was that? That was in the 90s, wasn't it?
Was it? Hey, look, some memes don't die for a while.
That's true. I'm just saying that one might be past its sell-by date. You folks are mentioning Google. Let's take a look at Google. I don't even think I've brought Google up here today. Google filled the gap in the meta. The dip got bought. Here's Google. Oh, my heavens. That is also
Very
a good
lovely
move.
Lovely move.
It was early 2000s or late 90s. Okay. Situational awareness and Citadel Saga should have become a movie like Margin Call for the big shorts. Has there been any other further details on the story? So this is interesting. I've read a little bit about this. I certainly don't consider myself an expert. Just to kind of paraphrase here. So this guy, Aschenbrenner, he has like the biggest prep school name I think I've ever heard. But regardless, he's levered up like 400% in his portfolio. His portfolio is going gangbusters this year. Ken Griffin throws out a rumor that there's a rate hike coming. His portfolio gets pounded. He gets liquidated at pennies on the dollar. He still makes money because he was up so much, but he gets liquidated. And the buyer is Citadel. So Ken Griffin started a rumor that drove the price of the portfolio down, then bought it at a discounted rate, and then it went right. Is that basically what happened? I mean, that to me is...
It sounds like it.
I might be getting this wrong. Again, this is not an expert. FCUV halted to the downside.
Downside, yep. So another turnaround there.
Kick rocks.
Wonder if that's going to mark a... I don't know. It didn't quite get high enough for me to say, oh, yeah, that's a double top. But we'll see if what VWAP does here out of this halt.
And is anyone else kind of like scratching your head at the name of this fund that was situational awareness? Like the irony of this. It's almost as if they're trying to make a script for a movie. It's going to be a movie, Ryan. I think Fabian's right. I think you and Fabian are right about that.
If Roaring Kitty's going to get a movie, then yes.
He's getting, oh, yeah.
Yeah. If every time that there's a big financial crisis event or some kind of big move and that gets the attention of let's say Congress, there's going to be a movie. That's why you had The Big Short. That's why you had gosh, what's that one with Jeremy Irons in it?
Margin Call.
Margin
Kevin
Call,
Spacey, yeah.
You had just a ton of these. But yeah, the situational awareness, that's going to probably be the title.
Big pull down on SPY. It looks like it's just to the VWAP. Looks like the yank is just to the VWAP here. Oh, his fiance was a VP at Anthropic, and she was feeding Leo data. Okay, so there was an inside thing in there too. Okay.
Yeah, Dara, they got to make sure that they do have that diversity in that movie. So people that look a certain way aren't going to look that way in the movie, just to get that Oscar nod. You're right about that. That's their rules now. You want to get an Oscar nod, you've got to have all these boxes checked.
That takes the entire point of that award away, in my opinion. I won't even get into that. He gets married this weekend. Oh, the cocktail hour should be popping at that wedding. You get a bunch of liquor in those people. There's probably a lot of wealthy folks in there. I can imagine the conversation at that wedding would be something else. Oh, that's good. I absolutely love you guys. You keep it real. Bro, we don't have time to do anything else. We don't have time to do anything else. So that's what you get. That's the benefit here. You're going to get, and 13 and I, we like to make jokes. I don't know what to tell you. We like to make jokes.
I like to make jokes.
I'm a big joke fan.
I wish we could make jokes like we used to. There's a lot of insensitivity these days where jokes just, they just don't hit the same way because they're always pulling back from being really, really good.
I'll tell you what, though, my patience for that is being tested, 13. I am.
Yeah, I kind of wonder if it all started with, Chris Rock getting slapped at the Oscars, but, I digress.
I used to listen to Chris Rock's stand-up CDs back when I was in high school.
I used to listen. I'll do you one better. I used to listen to Eddie Murphy tapes.
Oh, okay. You win that one. You win that one.
Remember those things?
Tapes? Yeah.
Yeah.
Got it. The craziest VHS, I remember one of my buddies got his hand on several of the AND1 mixtapes, the actual VHS tapes, and we would rush home from school, watch these AND1 mixtapes, and then go try to repeat and do the basketball moves in the driveway. Times were better back then. They were simpler, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's a good point. South Park still does lean in pretty heavy to the I guess we'll call it, the more offensive side of comedy. I love that they still are not holding back. They make fun of everyone. Yeah. Look, George Carlin was great.
Yeah, he's one of the best ever.
Yeah, if not the best, in my opinion. Because you could, there are so many things how many stand-ups he did that were so relevant to the things that are happening today. But anyway, let's see if there's anything in the market we can.
Well, we got 2 minutes left here before we go to Sandy.
Oh, okay.
We were just kind of filling time here. Sorry if it wasn't what you folks were hoping for. But real quick, one of the discussions we had on Happy Hour yesterday was that is the memory trade over? We had several people that think the highs are in on the memory names, and we have some people that don't think that's the case. I'd be curious to know what the group thinks about that. We can maybe talk about that in more length on Monday.
Yeah, FCUV open again, trying to decide if it's going to hold up a VWAP or if it's going to fall right through it. We'll find out in just a moment.
Yeah, and it looks like the bounce here is continuing. So SPY it back tested the VWAP, but it's holding here. S&P futures through VWAP, so that's actually positive. I still have SPY, Qs, and IWM in a larger bearish trend, but it's better. Things are a little bit better. Okay. Is Ondas going to hit its day high? 780 from here, it would take something pretty big for that. I don't think that's going to happen here today. Now, 13, we're out of time here for today. We're going to move over to Sandy. You have any closing words for the group? And before you get to that, thank you for filling in some time here for Amber.
Sure. Well, folks, not going to be any more mornings for a while with me, coming on here and telling you about the movers. But don't worry, I am still going to be around. I will still be coming on this show. I will still be talking and trading with y'all, and it's going to be a lot of fun. It's just going to be a little bit of a change as to when I show up. That's all. So I'm not going anywhere. I'm just changing my time. And it's been fantastic coming on here every morning with y'all and Ryan and just talking about different names that are, you can take trades in or make money off of. And I've really enjoyed this time with everybody. So I'm not going anywhere, but I am just going to be in here a little bit later. And when I do, things will be great. So folks, do not weep for this change. I'm still going to be around. I'll see you on Monday. Just take care and have a good weekend.
All right. 13 really good stuff. We'll see. We don't even know yet what the schedule is going to be yet. So there's still some up in the air, but we'll have them back on. 13 really good stuff as always. Have a great weekend.
Take care.
All right. The departure of 13 leaves room for Sandy. Let's go ahead and bring her on. Sandy, how are you today? You're muted. Muted. I know it happens to everybody.
See what happens when you don't have me on last week? Now I just had my skills all up to par. Hello, everybody out there. How's it going?
Hey, Sandy, just FYI, I have been going down the rabbit hole of automation for like the past several weeks. Yeah. I've been using AI to build myself an app. I have like an actual app that has its own icon that it is just, it has been an awesome project. I'm not at the finish line yet, but I just wanted to share with you that this has been like the thing that I do outside of work. I am completely addicted to it.
Oh, so you know what? You're a hidden engineer by heart, and you just didn't know it. So
I amaze myself sometimes with what I'm capable of doing with these tools.
Which AI are you using?
I'm using Grok Build.
Oh, okay. I'll have to try it. I'm using Perplexity Computer right now and having some fun with that.
Yeah, so I basically, this all started because I was coding indicators for my Thinkorswim platform, and I used all of the models. I used Claude, I used Perplexity. In fact, one of the models one of the trading strategies that's in the bot now, the indicator was written in Claude. I used Perplexity a lot, but I ended up, for the actual building itself, I got hooked on Grok Build, and it's been unbelievable. And I actually shown it to a couple of my developer friends that are like, "Wow, I didn't realize it could do this."
Oh, that's really cool. Yeah. I'll have to check that out. That's the issue, is that there's so many of them out there. And then once you start a project, you got your credits involved. And so you're just, you're plugging away. So
yeah, I still think it's a good recommendation to check some of your work with other models that you don't have to pay for. You get those credits for free anyway. You might as well use them. But did you want to share your screen?
Yeah. Let's see here. Thank you so much for letting me know that I'm not prepared.
The way you say it like that, like I was out to get you.
I was having fun just talking about the AI stuff.
We ought to do that one of these times. Trading Made Simple with Sandy starts right now.
Thanks.
Welcome back, traders. This is Sandra with Trading Made Simple. I'm here to show you short-term proven strategies. People think trading is a one-size-fits-all market. It's not. We live trade and train daily. Let's talk trading.
Having a good week. Boy, I gotta tell you, talk about the washing machine chop and whipsaw. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. And then we're going to be looking at some some mega cap stocks to take a look at their charts. So this back and forth whipsaw is just getting crazy. I think it was Monday that you really saw this. So here's Friday's close and here's Monday's open. And what did we do right after the open? Just completely faded down. This is SPX right here, but you could look at any chart and see the exact same thing. And this gets really bothersome for a trader, right? Because you can't do a swing trade. If you were in a swing trade on Friday, as an example, I mean, boy, I'll tell you, especially if you were anticipating any calls. We've actually just been choppy the entire time. And look at this day right here. I mean, unbelievable. Just all the way down at the end of the day, and then we pop right back up. Looks like we closed yesterday. Not so bad. And then, our high this morning, 74.88. And then all of a sudden down, and now we're back up. I mean, you're just whipsawing back and forth, back and forth. And this is a really difficult market to try to really, get any good swings on. And so this is actually a really good market for day trading. And so if you can put on a trade or two and grab some money off the table and run, you are doing good. But until, we have some geopolitical uh, calmness, I think, in the markets, I think, that war is still really kind of going back and forth. It looks like the institutions really don't know what to do here. So SPY actually holding it up together. You can see that on a 15-minute, we're at the last pivot high. Let's take a look at SPX on a day chart here. You can see that we're just trading in this range, but violently, right? These are big, huge moving sweeps. And you could see that we almost came down to the prior support at 72.94, didn't quite hit it, and then did a bounce right back up to the 20 EMA. That's what I have on my chart right now. And so momentum is still low. If we could cross above that zero line, we can most likely see a little bit of volume come into the market and maybe push this right back up to the resistance level at 76.19. Could you use, by the way, the support and resistance levels for some bounces, since that's what we've been doing is complete whipsaw back and forth? Could you wait until price comes down to 72.37 again to take some calls, maybe a call debit spread on SPX, or you could do the same on SPY? So something to take in consideration. And or you can also program at resistance, right? Maybe a put debit spread to come right back down on SPX. And then of course on SPY, you could take a regular put or also a debit spread. So something to take in consideration. If you're not used to the, the debit spreads, they handle this type of chop and whipsaw a lot better than a normal straight call or put. It limits your risk, so you're actually not taking on as much risk, but you're still able to participate. And then the best thing that you can do during this time period is keep your skills and your mind proficient, maybe by doing some simulated trading, getting off of real capital during this crazy market. Save your capital so that when the trend is actually identifiable, then you can get back into the market and really start making some money. Because after this very difficult period of time, right, at some point, our geopolitical situation is going to be a lot better than it is right now. And then you'll be able to take advantage of a normal market, if there is such a thing, right? We have patterns, we have trends. And so as we follow those trends, we're able to make money from those trends. If there is no trend, we are not making any money. We're doing this whipsaw back and forth, and your positions can't stay on very long. So you may just want to think about just day trading until we can get out of this washing machine environment. You could see that we actually created an indicator to help us identify when the whipsaw's in, by the way, and when, we're basically choppy inside of a range. And so that's where we are right now today. So this indicator is actually on the day shift. So on a day chart. So if you're interested in indicators and want to get a copy of this indicator, this weekend I'm releasing our training that we did with our group that includes this indicator, just to kind of help you identify where we're at. It will change on a day chart when we actually start trending. But you definitely want to keep in mind of the whipsaw action, right? Because that whipsaw action is crazy. And just when you start to get greedy and you have a good swing trade on that maybe was profiting for 2 days, maybe, let's just say 2 days, if we can even get that, then all of a sudden, if the label comes on and says whipsaw, you better take your profits and run. Or even when it says choppy, right? Choppy is kind of a mess too. And so we're really waiting for a trend to come back into the market. I think I'm going to release that video tomorrow. So that's Sandra at Trading Made Simple on YouTube. So look out for that release for tomorrow if you like indicators. All right, guys, let's take a look at some charts. I had a list here of the mega cap. Wanted to go and go through these here. So let's go over to Meta. Let me see if I can get this going over here. No, got to figure out how to use that. All right, Meta, look at this gap down here a couple days ago. Wow, talk about a huge gap, right? So really kind of a trend continuation, right? Kind of a trend continuation of the downside. Though the last couple days, even though we are in a downtrend, the last couple days kind of doing a little bounce here. So you got to be careful, you know, because indicators are lagging. You got to be careful of identifying, hey, when it's time to take your profits and run. And I think we had a whipsaw at the end of this day right here towards the end. And, you know, typically speaking, when the VIX gets above that 20, that in your mind should maybe identify that, hey, we're kind of be entering a whipsaw, a washing machine zone, if I could get that out together here. But whenever you hit that 20, you don't really know if that volatility, that fear gauge, is going to cause bounces like this or if it's going to cause continuation downtrends. And so this is interesting to note because I believe on this day right here, we actually had a whipsaw day towards the end of the day. VIX got above 20. And then look what happened the next morning. We ended up further down. You would have still profited, no doubt, with that trend. But we've been bouncing the last couple of days, even though we're at a trend going down. So this has a lot of room to make, right? Because price can't get that far away from the 20. I mean, if you look, you know, back, just look left, price typically, when it's away from the 20 this far, it will typically bounce back. And so either it bounces back or it goes sideways so that the EMA can catch up with it. And so just take that into consideration that we typically do that, reversal either by time or by price. Price is either going to jump and jump up or jump down to get closer to the 20, or time is going to pass to give the 20 time to head down towards where price is. As price is down there going kind of sideways, right? It's giving it time. That could be days at this level. So just something to take in consideration on Meta. What are the levels that we're looking at Meta right now? Wow. So typically speaking, right, just to come back, we need to reestablish this candle right here. And you can see that we're entering the lowest pivot here. We've entered it and we're kind of sitting there as support. You can see the vertical trend lines here, and this is from pivot highs, pivot lows, but you can see how we're in this channel right here. So we could see continuation to come and meet that. If we break below that 540.04, we're going to be going lower. And definitely, if we break below the previous low, which is at 520, you can actually see this start going previous lows all the way down the line. So this looks interesting to me, but we also have a little bit of an increase in our momentum here. So this is really looking awful, to be quite honest with you. Let's take a look at Microsoft. Oh my, Microsoft's doing the exact opposite, right? So now you have, we're sitting here in a chop zone. We wake up one day, boom. And boy, talk about a huge, and remember, this was 2 days ago. This is, I believe, when we had the whipsaw on the market. So this does not just identify a whipsaw to the downside. This actually, any whipsaw, depending on what stock it's on, is just going to react with huge jumps, right? Huge gaps. And that's exactly what we saw here. And you could see it's to the upside, the exact opposite. So now the EMA has to catch up to price, or price has to come and tag the 20 EMA again. So what's it going to be? Right now it looks pretty good, but we're coming right into resistance. Is this a good area, by the way, to take maybe a put debit spread? I say it is, because we are getting right back to that resistance zone. This is an interesting play right here I'm going to take advantage of. I'm going to just put on a debit spread, and I want to clear it. I want to clear this line so that we don't just break it, make a new pivot high, which is only maybe a couple cents above it, and then do a reversal. We see that constantly, right? So right here it says 466. Let me try to, these are typically supposed to be zones, but it looks like a finite line. It's not. Support and resistance are zones. So you kind of have to take that into consideration as you're trading or automating, right? So this says 466. Meta moves quickly. I'm going to say 467. If it can break 467, it's made a new higher high and may continue even higher. So 467 on Microsoft. I'm going to go over to the trade tab here and get some dates. So how about if we get till the next Friday, put on a debit spread, a vertical debit spread. Now, at the time that it actually hits the 467, that's actually when that's going to be our at the money play, right? When it hits 467. And so I want to know what my limit price is, because just in case there's a lot of volatility that day, I don't want to get overpriced. If you're not used to this, if you buy an option contract overpriced, then even if you hit your profit target, it's not going to be as much of a profit, or even you can still lose money depending on that volatility. So because of that, we definitely want to create a ceiling for us during this wartime volatility, because you never know what's going to happen. So as we take a look at that, let's go back to our trade tab. We're going to use actually the at the money price to find out what our limit price is. So I'm going to go to the first, and we're going to take a look at puts. I'm going to take a look at the first black out of the money strike on the put side, because I actually think if it, we could do two things actually. We can do a breakout. Let's do that. Let's do them both. We're going to do a breakout at 467, and because it is higher than the last previous high. And so as I have this call here at 133, I'm going to add 25% to 133 to give me my max zone I'm willing to pay for this. I don't want to go anything over. And if you don't know, in wartime, when volatility strikes, and it can be at a headline in the news, it could be a tweet, whatever it is, but when we're in a wartime volatility, prices spike up to 500%, from 100 to 500%. That's why you want to put a limit order in. If you're not used to it, you want to make sure that there's a ceiling price for this, okay? We used to, before the war, do buy the ask and sell the bid, but you really can't do that anymore, only because of this wartime volatility and how prices, the market makers will gouge pricing. So if we take a look at this and say the at the money right now is 118 plus 25%, that gives us 148. So that's going to be my limit. I'm not going to pay more than $1.48 for this when we actually get to the 467 level. Now I'm going to go down here and take in fact, I can actually just use this and just change this to the, it's probably easier if I show you here. If I take that 467, which is the price that I wanted here, here's 467.5, and yeah, let's take this one right here, 467.5 to 470. We're going to take that one. We're going to go over to the gear icon, and you know what? Let me create a duplicate. Let's do an opposite order here. Let's do a first triggers OCO. That'll actually be a lot cleaner. So I'm going to right click it, go to buy custom, and I'm going to go with an OCO bracket. And now we have the debit spread that's up here. Now I'm going to, this is nice. If you use the custom feature, it actually gives you the first triggers, the OCO. So you have both of your orders, right? So you have a buy order for yourself, and then you also have your sell order. So here I'm going to, as well as with profit, here I'm going to go in here and I'm going to say, remember we said that 148 was our ceiling price for this. We're going to change this to go to cancel. And from here, we're going to go right over here and say, hey, when Microsoft, and we're going to leave it at mark, is greater than, and right here, we're going to put that trigger level that we identified, which is 467, and we're going to tab out of there. And once we tab out, that means that, hey, we got the actual program. You know, we were talking about AI, but did you know that your platforms, you can actually just automate your orders, guys? That's what we do at tradingmadesimple.org. So we teach you how to automate your orders so that you become proficient at it. And you can use this with any strategy. So that's what's really nice about it. You can look at a chart, make your decision, put on the trade, so you don't have to sit in front of your screen all day. Now, if you like sitting in front of your screen all day, then believe me, there'll come a time where you're going to start to hate it. And that's when you're going to start looking for automation. So here we have Microsoft at or above 467. And you see right here the programming. We just programmed this, right? Just like we do with AI. The price of this security is greater than or equal to 467. We calculated the at the money with the at the money spread costs. And then we just added 25% so we don't get gouged by the market makers. That's how easy this can be. And we're going to save it. Once we save it, that's it. It's locked in. Now, you know what that OCO did? This is interesting. And this is actually a real account. So I find it interesting that even though we're on a vertical, Schwab has an error in their programming, speaking of AI, that they pulled up a single, the 467.5 single, even though I was on a vertical. That's not good. You can make a vertical template and then save it so that you can use the template again so that this doesn't happen. But I'm going to delete these items right here, and then I'm going to just create it from scratch because I just noticed that. So right here, we're going to delete. Yeah, that's very interesting. I'll have to let them know. You would think they would get that fixed, right? Okay, so now that we have our buy order here, I'm just going to come over to the hamburger menu, which is the 3 lines. And here, when I click on it, it says create an opposite order. So I'm going to add an order here. And you can see I have first triggers and OCO. So I already had the right programming here. So now this gives me my take profit, right? So as I look at the chart, I can either look at the chart and program this in, or I can say, hey, I just want a 50% take profit. Now, because we're whipsawing back and forth and very choppy, I'm taking my profits a lot sooner than I normally would. So over here, I'm going to click on trigger. And I'm going to click on the percentage, and I'm going to put here 25% instead of 50. Okay. And now I have that in there. That's programmed. I have good till cancel. So this lines up. Now I need another sell order so that I can use a stop loss here, right? So I'm going to create a duplicate order because it's a sell order. And you see how it has that original programming in there. So what I'm going to do here is I can either use the 25%. Now I have to tell you, since Schwab took over TD Ameritrade, their programming, they kind of tightened up the screws so that morning volatility, you'll never get your take profit being whipsawed into that volatility, but you'll always get your stop loss hit, right? This is interesting how they did this over at Schwab during the takeover. So the percentages and the option prices, for whatever reason, with debit spreads and other different types of multi-leg strategies, your stop loss will get hit if you use a percentage or an option contract. So it's actually better to use a trigger on the chart. So let's take a look at that. So as we look at this at 467, how about we just take $1 below it and say, oh, if it comes back down to let's make it $2, 460, we did 467. Let's do 465 as our stop. Oops, sorry about that, guys. So let's bring back our order form here. And what we're going to do is let's go over here and we'll fix this first. Mark at or below 465. And we're going to tab out. And then here we're going to do 0, 0. And we're going to say sell the bid. Okay, so we're not using a sell market order here. What we're actually doing is using this trigger level, and we're going to sell the bid. And what that will do is get us out with a little bit favorable pricing versus a market order. And most stops, all stops, use a market order, even a trail stop. So if you're trying to save a little bit of money, depending on how many contracts you do, you could do it that way, or you can come right over here and use the stop feature, right? Here I'm going to use this because it works typically very well. So now that I actually have a trigger, a threshold of a price inside the box, it will not stop me out based on volatility unless price is at or below that 465, and then it will get me out. So I'm going to confirm this and read this dialog box with you. You want to make sure that you read the dialog box because you just programmed this, right? And it actually helps you because it makes you a better programmer, just like when you're using the AI stuff. You know, if you keep doing this each and every day, you just get better and better and better at it until you're proficient. So here we're buying that debit spread on the call side. And you can see it says at or above 467. And we're selling it if we hit a 25% take profit. And we're going to exit if we hit the 465 level, which is below us, right? So now we have all of our rules set right up front. So then now you don't have to think about it. And now we're going to enter that. And you can see that it's actually on here. You can, if you don't like that, you can actually go over and in your setup here and in your administration, and you could say, I don't want to see that. I actually think it's in chart settings here. In any event, let's take a look at how we're going to do I'm not going to do a put here. What I'm going to do is a reversal trade. So if we did 466.38, let's say 466. How about if we do 466? If we do 466, that will enter us into a put trade. So you could do a reversal on this, okay? So, and this would be the range bound trading technique, okay? You hit your resistance level, what do? You take the opposite level. Are we in a range? Currently, we did break out right here, but you could see that as soon as we broke out just a little bit, we came right back down, even lower than our previous low. We made a new low. We made a new high here. We made a new low here. So those violent whipsaws, right? But you got this whole range that you could take advantage of. And that's what we're trying to do here. So what I'd like to do is say, if price, I can actually use this candle right here as confirmation. And that would confirm a gap fill right here. I actually like that better. I'm going to use the wick as well. So I'm going to use the 432 level instead as I analyze just chart. So if we go below 432, guys, I'm taking a debit put. I'm going to do this one really fast. So here you can see we're going to buy. I'm going to buy this And I'm going to say vertical. Is it going to give it to me? Yeah, that's interesting. So now I'm going to go first triggers a OCO. And I'm going to use this and say an opposite order. And I'm going to do a duplicate order. Great. So now I literally have my OCO up here. And then now we're going to, what I didn't take into consideration is what is the price here for the at the money. So the at the money, I put it right up here, 455, 452. Yeah, that's this one, I think. Let me see. No, it's actually this one right here. That's $1.15 is at the money. So you're going to take your $1.15. Don't forget to do this, guys, plus your 25%, and it's 143. So that's going to be our limit price, 143. So you're going to come right over here into, let me delete that order. Come right over here. Did I delete the wrong one? Oh my Lord, what did I do? Now that that isn't there, I think I messed up my order, guys. My apologies. We don't have enough time. That's why I got nervous at the end and I messed up my order. So I'm going to tell you goodbye for now. But if you remember the sequence, or you can go back and rewatch this, the same way that we did for the calls, you're going to do it for the puts, but just have the strategy that we're going to actually do a reversal. And we're going to fill that gap because, you know, once we make a gap, we always fill it. Guys, have a great weekend and we'll see you on the next show. Bye-bye.